Don't you notice how I get quiet when there's no one else around? Me and you and awkward silence. Don't you dare look at me that way. I don't need reminders of how you don't feel the same. Oh, the burning pain. Listening to you harp on about some new soulmate. She's so perfect, blah, blah, blah. Oh, how I wish you'd wake up one day. Run to me, confess your love. At least just let me say that when I talk to you, won't you bed walks right through and shoots right out through my heart.
Hello, everyone.
And I sound like a loon, but don't you feel it to confess I loved you from the start?
Hello, everyone. How are we doing today? I'm doing pretty good. Little dizzy. I did just shake my head a bunch. Welcome in. You're gonna pull something in your neck doing that? You know what I have to say to that, Chris? You know what I have to say?
What's a girl to do? Lying on my bed staring into the blue. Unrequited.
That's what I have to say to that. That's what I have to say. Oh my God, who we got in chat today? Who's here to say hi to little old me? Who's here? We got Annie, first place, easy peasy. We got Chris in, hello. We got, ooh, Case. Welcome in, Diablo, yuck. I mean, I agree with you, Diablo is yuck, but we're doing Elden Ring today. And Vince, hello, how are you doing? Courtsuzb, hello to you. And C. Widden, hello. It's good to see you all. Hola, 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 ¿cómo está? ¿Cómo está? Muy bien, muy bien. I am ready. For those of you who didn't see the Discord post, I may possibly have hurt my wrist a bit yesterday. I was driving, you know, for a couple hours and, you know, it's a little bit of stress, So today, instead of Final Fantasy, we're gonna be doing some lore for Elden Ring. Elden Ring lore, excuse you. Yes, I decided that Elden Ring's DLC is coming out and I want to refresh on my lore nerdness. Thought you're doing a Michael Jackson cosplay with the glove? No, it's a compression glove. It helps with the pain in my hand. Here, you know what? You're right. I'm sorry. I should do better. You know, if I'm gonna go all out with the compression gloves, I might as well bring out the maid gloves, right? I might as well. Oh my God. Hey, I am fucking ready. Nerd, what's this lore? Flash, 15 fucking goddamn, but Flash, I have a question for you. Do you like me or something? 15 months is a long time to keep up this ruse, you know? Like, if you keep subbing for longer, I might even eventually believe that you like me. I know, crazy, right? Cyrandeli, what's up, bud? Just being a goof? Oh, Chris. Oh, Chris, don't you worry. I know you're a goof. Doing good. It's currently summer, so I'm just chilling. Vince, you got your AC running? I got mine on full blast in the background. Ain't no way I'm melting in this heat. Can't be having that. This is my shortest sub. You know, Flash, I'll take that. I'll be your shortest sub. And you know what? Eventually, I'll go up the ranks. You know, you'll sub to someone new. It's like new guy hazing. You know, you've only been subbed for 15 months. AC's running, and I also have a mini fan in my room on full blast. Oof. Keeping cool is an understatement. Okay, I gotta say something. Nothing is better than having a tower fan pointed directly at you. It's so good. There's just so much air being blasted on you. It feels like you're in a nice breeze. And unfortunately, my tower fan broke. So I don't have a tower fan no more. All right. I am very, very excited to get into some lore today. I know some lore of Elden Ring. I've gotten some pieces and bits. But VaatiVidya, the premier Souls YouTuber, has a 11 video playlist detailing the lore of Elden Ring, with the most recent video coming out less than a week ago. And I kind of want to see how far we can get through the lore today. Rest in peace, tower fan. It was ridiculous. So the main problem is I can't open it up to clean it. The tower fan, the model I bought is so user antagonist. I even went on Reddit to look up the specific fan model, and there's no way to open the fan to clean it without breaking it. It's crazy. Let's watch them all bet. I'll try. I'll see how far we can get. Hey, if you know me, you know that I fucking pause way too much. Just fix it, streamer man. Shit, you right. Gotta have a heater on at the moment. It's very cold in upside down land. Really? What are you doing down there, being cold? I'm kind of jealous. My favorite time of year, hands down, gotta be fall. No questions asked. Get a nice cool breeze. Get the leaves changing color. You gotta get the scent of pumpkin spice on the air. And the smell of that cheap Halloween latex. Open that box that's been in your undercroft for like a year. You pull out your dumb fucking mask and you just take a big old huff of it and get those Halloween fumes up in your nose. That's what I'm talking about. I never cared about any Souls lore. I swing big sword and unga bunga. See if this interests me? Well, hey, we'll check it out. All right, so we're going to get into it. I want to first do a pseudo YouTube-y intro. What's up, y'all? Today, we are exploring the lore of Elden Ring. I've been a longtime fan of the Souls games, but never really delved into Elden Ring's lore. And right now, we are going to be going through VaatiVidya's lore of Elden Ring. It's an 11-episode playlist, which is going to be quite the watch, but I'm excited! All right. So this first one is called Elden Ring Lore Explained, and this was uploaded 2 years ago. When I say Vaati's an OG, I mean Vaati's an OG. This person's been producing Elden Ring, been producing Souls content for years. Let's see, what's their oldest? Yeah, 11 years ago, they made Prepare to Cry, the lore of Artorias. They are a pillar of the Souls community. I'm excited to watch some of their stuff.
Our story doesn't...
Chat, I need you to let me know if it is too loud or too quiet, all right? I've been thinking about trying Elden Ring. You should, Vince. You really, really should. Elden Ring is the best Souls game, and it's the easiest Souls game. And when I say easiest, I don't mean that it's technically easier. It's still challenging. But the best part about Elden Ring is it's lateral. You don't have to fight the boss to progress. Like, if you're having trouble with Margit, just go the other direction. Level up. Come back. And there's so many different builds to make it easier too. Like, Elden Ring is the most accessible Souls game, 100%. Not too good at Souls games though. Neither am I. Vince, the only Souls games I've beaten are Bloodborne and Dark Souls 2. Elden Ring is still my favorite out of them though. So many summon signs at Mog, the boss you need to kill to access the DLC. That's cute. That's actually really cute. So many people being like, hey, I know you need to kill this boss. I know this boss is hard. Let's do it together. That's really cute. I love that.
Begin in the lands between. It begins in the cosmos, far away, with an outer
Vaati's voice
god
is like right in my
called the
brain.
Greater Will.
It's
There
beautiful.
are a lot of outer gods mentioned in Elden Ring. You can think of these kind of like the great ones of Bloodborne. They're distant beings. They're all-powerful and they're quite unknowable by design.
Okay, wait a minute. I'm already fucked up here. There's like eldritch outer gods in Elden Ring? I thought it was just like they had a ring that Melania was in control of, and then it got shattered to kill some gods. I didn't realize we were talking about like outer space alien deities. We're getting Cthulhu in this.
Design. But many of these outer gods want to make their presence felt in the world. The greater will, maybe most of all. To this end, it sent a golden star hurtling towards the lands between. The Elden Star's incantation tells us that this golden star was bearing a beast, an Elden beast. The Elden Remembrance calls it a vassal beast of the greater.
Okay, you know what? It is actually making more sense that the last boss is a weird, like, squid monster now. I guess I never really questioned the Elden beast. And if I had, I don't think I would have considered it to be an emissary from an alien to our planet to help control it. I would not have expected that. I have that one negative personality trait where if I'm not instantly good at something, my interest dies in it super quick. Ah, so you're saying the gifted child syndrome, Chris. Ayo, me too.
To will.
Elden Ring 201, you need to go to 101? This is 101.
On behalf of their overlord. Obviously, this is fitting in this case, because the Elden Beast occupied the lands between on behalf of the Greater Will, and was a living incarnation of the concept of order. As such, this beast would later become the Elden Ring. The Elden Ring itself...
Hey, wait, the beast becomes the Elden Ring? Remedial classes for you then? Yeah, I'm taking summer school after this. Bro, we're 1 minute in and my brain's already popping. Okay, so the alien emissary was sent down by an elder god to help control the lands between, and that emissary became the Elden Ring itself. Okay.
Is made up of runes of power. Some great, some small, that together
I recognize that one.
a sort of logic for the world to follow. Thus, the Elden Ring represents order. The true nature of this order is a subject of constant debate and research undergone by fundamentalists. But two of the key fundamentals are the laws of causality and regression.
Okay, wait. Can I do that? That's good. That's a good. Okay, so I go
key
out.
Fundamentals are
like
the
that.
laws of causality and regression.
No. Okay, I start like this.
But two of the key
go
fundamentals
out,
are the laws of causality and regression.
There we go. Okay.
You can think of the law of causality as cause and effect.
In 14 turns through the Litivus.
Actions have consequences,
true.
and those consequences are new causes that branch out into infinity. These are the relationships between things. Then there's the law of regression that states that all things eternally yearn to converge and return to their roots.
Okay, there's a law of regression saying that every living thing... Sorry, what?
All things eternally yearn to converge and return to their roots.
Okay, so all things wish to go back to the greater whole and return to the root of when they were born. Okay, shit, we're in philosophy like 400.
Fittingly, then, the Elden Ring
Country, how you doing, bud?
The Erd Tree.
Mystic! How's my favorite streamer? How's my favorite viewer? I'm doing pretty good.
Was over the lands between. But it's very important to stress that life in the lands between did not begin with the Erd Tree, the Elden Ring, or the Elden Beast. No, the lands between were occupied well before the Greater Will came. There were other beings here. There were other factions here. There were other gods here, and there was even another great tree here.
Bro, how many trees you gotta have? How are you gonna have multiple great trees? Yeah, this is Yggdrasil, and next to it is my Yggdrasil, but like different colored. It's like getting a different colored skin in a video game. Like I load up as fucking Ryu with his white robe. You queue up with his blue one, and we're like, well, okay, I guess we can tell each other apart. But like, how are you gonna have the same thing? You're really coming in and copying someone's homework. It's like, I see you have a tree. Here's my tree instead. That I look like the Sharingan. Chris, you need to put down the manga. You need to put down that manga and back up. It do be looking like the Sharingan, though.
Before the Erd Tree. And this is where a huge twist regarding the Erd Tree comes in.
Okay.
So, There are incantations in the game called aspects of the crucible, according to their
That that does look like a ball sack. I cannot be the only one thinking this. That do be looking.
descriptions. These are manifestations of the Erd Tree's primal vital energies, and I quote, "They are an aspect of the primordial crucible where all life was once blended together." But how could all life
you can
be
see it?
blended
Okay,
together
Vince.
in
Okay.
the Erd Tree if the Erd Tree appeared after life existed? Well, there can only be one answer, right? That the Erd Tree is a parasite. And it took over a tree that existed here before.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Holy shit. It's not just copying their homework. That's straight up plagiarism. The tree came in and is like, that's a damn. The Elden Beast is like, damn, that's a cool tree. I'm gonna take it. That's crazy.
This ancient tree was called the Great Tree. So the Great Tree was almost certainly the location
Just went through
of
PT.
this primordial
Well, hey, good time to
crucible.
relax and enjoy
It
some
must have
lore,
been
huh?
a very powerful primordial force for the Greater Will to have commandeered. It might even be the reason the Lands Between is important to the Greater Will in the first place. It also explains why spells and enemies related to the Great Tree's crucible would eventually be looked down upon. For example, the Knot Talisman is fashioned from a knotted vestige.
The Erd Tree looks like it's attached to a massive tree, then devoured the tree, leaving the parasite frozen in the shape of the original tree. Oh, as in, so kind of like the tree isn't even a tree itself. It's just like a giant parasite imitating the shape of a tree. Ooh, Chris, that's a cool idea. Ooh, okay, I like that.
Of the crucible, and it was considered a signifier of the divine in ancient times, but is now increasingly disdained as an impurity as civilization has advanced. Enemies related to the crucible are the Omen, the Misbegotten, and the Crucible Knights. And
okay, all three of those guys I hate. I'm sorry. You're gonna tell me, oh no, they're part of the primordial people and they had their tree stolen. I don't care. This guy sucks. He's way too tanky. He hits way too hard. Okay.
The Omen, the Misbegotten.
These guys attack in way too much of a group. They fly, which is okay. Flying enemies in Elden Ring. Can we just talk about how that should be outlawed?
Gotten and the Crucible
And
Knight.
then there's these fuckers. Then there's these guys coming out of nowhere with their insane moveset, flying all around the arena. You know what? I'm with the Erd Tree on this one. How about we declare these people heretical? Jump attack them, easy fix for the flying. Not everyone uses giant Unga Bunga flash. Some of us have a spear because we had to reroll our weapon. Some of us have a spear that doesn't do a lot of damage because we had to reroll our weapon. I know nothing of this game and its lore. I just like to theorize and sometimes accidentally make correct predictions. Please do not confirm or deny my. Reading it like a medication disclaimer. Please do not take my predictions as law. Lord Virgin learns all Destiny 2 lore in one sitting. Ooh, that's not a bad idea, Doc. Do you have like a playlist that you could send me of lore?
And all three of them would be shunned, enslaved, or imprisoned. Those who speak for the Erd Tree don't want you to know its roots.
Also, why are the May gloves
so to
on?
speak.
Because my arm
According
hurts.
to the spell, protection of the Erd Tree, in the beginning everything was in opposition to the Erd Tree, but through countless victories in war, it became the embodiment of order.
In Marika's own words, the Erd Tree governs all. The choice is thine. Become one with the order, or divest thyself of it, to wallow at the fringes.
Tag yourself, chat. Which one are you? Which one of these shambling husks are you? If I have to call one, I am definitely which one? Which one is the most hunched and sad looking? I'm back here. This one's me. He speaks to me.
A powerless upstart.
But the Greater Will
send that over to me,
than a
Doc.
big tree. It needed loyal agents in the Lands Between. To this end, it has the two fingers, who are its envoys.
You're all of them? Ah, the collective subconscious of Vince spread across the undead. Beautiful. Is Lord Daddy, I can confirm. Well, I want to be daddied. I want to be picked up and coddled by my father. Well, not my father. My father sucks.
The Two Fingers heirloom has a weird picture of them, but it reads, of
Bloober!
course, fingers cannot speak.
Hey, yo,
These are eloquent.
How you doing, bud?
Persistently they wriggle, spelling out mysteries in the air. Thus did we gain the words of our faith. These words are interpreted...
Bro, how you gonna stalk? Like,
the words of our faith. These...
God, I love that. This stock square image of a quotation. Damn, bro. I love that shit. That's good. Oh, hope he starts making T-slaps again. That sounds offensive, and I don't know why. Paldea Team Solid right now? Fuck yeah. What's on it?
Words are interpreted by the finger readers. These are the undying old crones that you would have found throughout the lands between.
Damn, woman. Damn. Put those dogs away. Okay, first of all, put those dogs away. Second of all, why are you holding your staff with your fucking dogs? We got prehensile toes. Put those away. Your grippers probably stank too.
They pass down the wisdom of the Two Fingers, or at least they used to.
Your fingers, please.
Yeah, damn, you're holding your staff with your fucking toes.
I can read them.
Most of them appear to have lost their purpose, and they're desperate to read your fingers and tell you annoying riddles, since their two fingers are likely dead. And yes, of course, there are multiple sets of two fingers. You would have found their corpses on the tops of the divine towers. Atop these towers, you loot the fingers in order to activate the true power of a great rune. Specifically though, you are giving benediction back to your great rune. You're taking a blessing back from the two dead fingers, essentially.
Okay, so the fingers are the conduit through which the outer gods communicate with the weird feet ladies. And the weird feet ladies are what spread the faith of the Golden Order through the sign language of these fingers. And the fingers... Okay, so then... Okay, so we also get our runes from the fingers. Jesus Christ.
Essentially, this is just one of many blessings that the two fingers can bestow, and my point is kind of that the two fingers clearly have more than just influence. They have real power on some level. The Greater Will
Toss in the
needs
cool vid
these
section,
powerful
Mystic.
envoys and agents because, while it's obviously incredibly powerful, it does seem limited by a few things. First is space. The Greater Will didn't come into the lands between itself. It sent an Elden beast to do its bidding instead. Second is time. There is a moment later in the game where your pair of two fingers go still because they're forced to commune with the Greater Will for guidance.
When they are finished, the fingers will again offer their guidance. But thousands, if not tens of thousands, of moons must first pass. No matter for me. But you, how will you ever manage to wait?
So the Greater Will needs a physical manifestation of order. It needs envoys to convey its will, but what it...
Can you kill the fingers? I've never tried to hit them. In fact, whenever I see them, I try not to look at them because they gross me out. Can you kill these things? I don't think so.
also needs is a god. Introducing Marika the Eternal. I have this utterly enormous mind map of Elden Ring's lore, and there's a reason she's at the center.
Little bro really Charlie in the office right now. Little bro really hitting us with Pepe Sylvia. Sorry, not the office. Always Sunny. Little bro, like Vati videos hitting us with the Pepe Sylvia. Pepe Sylvia. Pepe Sylvia. Disciples of the Great Grippers. Isn't there literally a weapon that's literally one of the fingers swung like a sword? There is a finger weapon, but that comes from like the skittery fingers in like the underworld area.
She's essentially the equivalent of Gwyn from Dark Souls, except unlike Gwyn, Marika didn't just crawl out of the dark and find power. To an extent, it seems like she earned it. We don't know much about her origins, except that she is of the Newman race, which is actually an origin that you can choose in the
Newman, yay.
character selection screen. Newman come from outside the lands between, and are supposed descendants of denizens of another world.
I mean, I'm hairy too, but like, damn. He's like a more masculine, hairy version of me. Damn.
Long-lived, but seldom born. At some point, Marika was chosen as
I love how
an
she's
Empyrean.
held up by a giant
What is an
rune arc.
Empyrean?
Yeah, it's really cool.
Well, an Empyrean is a being chosen by the Fingers as a candidate for godhood. As an Empyrean,
Marika got fingered instead of Freddy got fingered.
Marika received the aid of a shadow to do her bidding. So what is a shadow? Well, it's a wolf, shadowbound to its Empyrean by the two fingers. Lunar Princess Rani is another example of
This
an
morning
Empyrean.
I woke up today, and this morning in the morning I woke up, this morning I woke up, and remember that every morning that I wake up I woke up that fucking morning, just remember that.
Ah, interesting, Nine. But I have a question in turn. When you woke up this morning, did you feel like you woke up this morning? Or did you feel like you woke up yesterday's morning when you woke up that morning beforehand? Because if you feel like you woke up yesterday morning when really you woke up this morning, how on earth can you tell if today's morning is not yesterday's morning? There you go. That's my question back to you.
With a shadowbound beast, you would have met Blythe.
What is today but yesterday's tomorrow? There's one scene in Adventure Time that sticks with me forever. Let's see, the Tart, Toter, Adventure Time.
Hello? Eat my tarts? This cosmic dance of bursting decadence and withheld permissions twists all our arms collectively, but if sweetness can win, and it can, then I'll still be here tomorrow to high-five you yesterday, my friend.
I'll still be here tomorrow to high-five you yesterday. That lives in my head rent-free. I just wish the whole chat's topic is that easy. Yeah, I'm the teacher in school that you knew the key phrase to get them to stop talking about the lesson and instead talk about that. Like I'm the teacher that will go into like a whole diatribe about World War II or some shit if someone brings it up.
These creatures are the Empyrean's very own shadow. They
Dog.
are completely loyal to their needs and, by definition, incapable of treachery. Marika's shadow was a beast called Malakath. Every Empyrean uses their shadow in different ways, but Marika's sole need of her shadow was as a vessel to lock away destined death. So what is destined death? Well, according to Enya,
Key phrase was
it's the
talking to my
rune
biology
of
teacher
death.
about Vietnam.
The rune of
The question is,
death
was he in Vietnam?
goes by
If so,
two
you're giving him
names.
flashbacks.
The other is destined death.
We mentioned earlier that the Elden Ring is made up
Malakath is the coolest boss, changed my mind. But what about those gargoyle statues? Come on, the ones that just like look like cats and they fly up in the air and hit you. Those are so cool. What do you mean?
of runes, and at some point, maybe when she was chosen as a god, Marika plucked the Rune of Death from the Elden Ring. She gave the Rune of Death to Malakath, her totally loyal shadow, who bore a black blade imbued with this rune. It's kind of genius, really. In a single act, she removed the concept of death from the lands between, while also commanding total control of death through her shadow, who could deliver it at her whim. Now,
So Marika,
some of you might be asking,
Marika has access to the Elden Ring through the Elden Beast, because she is a god chosen by the Two Fingers, which communicate with the outer gods. So an outer god's like, hey, Marika, you're cool. You're going to take the tree parasite and rule the land. Here's an Elden Ring. Marika goes, sweet. I'm going to make everyone immortal except for the ones that I choose to kill by removing the rune of death. I think we got it.
asking, if death is removed from the lands between, how come I can kill this dog? First off,
Dog.
shame on you. Second, from a lore point of view, that dog isn't really dead. It's simply in the process of its spirit, or its soul,
This scene right here is like, it should have been me, not him, me.
returning to the Erd Tree. Catacomb dungeons, for example, are specifically constructed near the roots of the Great Tree for this reason, so that the Erd Tree can reabsorb their ashes back into it. This process replaced the concept of a death that you were destined to have. But this random spirit outside of a catacomb dungeon says it best.
Damn. So now if you die, you're instead consumed into the Erd Tree, fueling the parasite. Oh, the parasite's feeding on the life and death of the people in the lands between. That's fucking cool.
As another example of this theory, when you kill a major boss, you receive a remembrance of them. These are spirits, and they are hewn into the Erd Tree. In this way, thanks to the Erd Tree's grace,
that why we get rot?
their
Not sure
spirits are
yet.
Immortalized, in a sense. This new form of death also explains
reverse
what's happening
tapewormed?
when you summon spirits.
From ash and return to the Erd Tree.
However, some spirits never return to the Erd Tree, and they rise within death as corpses or skeletons instead. So this was the new order. And it's important to stress that it was in this moment, when the rune of death was removed, when destined death was taken, this is when order became the Golden Order.
The forbidden shadow.
Summoning, not in my Elden Ring. Meanwhile, I'm playing Elden Ring with the seamless co-op mod, letting my summons carry me.
Plucked from the Golden Order upon its creation.
Specifically, this was Marika's Golden Order. So not only did she become a god and a vessel for the Elden Ring, she became renowned as Marika the Eternal for her removal of destined death. It was a huge part of her character and her reign as well. However, Marika had more than just death to conquer. She had wars to fight, as the world was occupied by many forces that could threaten her Golden Order. There was war with the Storm.
Can I just take a second to appreciate the B-roll he has? Because, like, how much work must this have been to get all this B-roll? Like, how are you getting the B-roll of this dragon boss? He had to have got into the dragon boss, but not fought it and found a way to get this view. That's kind of crazy.
Occupied by many forces that could threaten her Golden Order.
Console
there was
commands?
war with the Storm Lord,
probably.
who likely ruled over Stormvale, and there was a war with the Giants.
I'm
who were
dumb, so
masters of the
stuff
flame
like
that could
this makes
burn
my
the
brain
Erd
go
Tree.
pop.
There was war with the Ancient Dragons, who incidentally had stones that could twist time and thus slay a god. And finally, there was war brewing with the Carrion royalty, who had previously obeyed laws which contravened the Golden Order. Thus, sort of similar to how the Greater Will needed an Empyrean to enforce its will, Marika herself needed someone to wage war. So, there was to be a husband, a consort, an Elden Lord. The man chosen was Horalu, a ferocious warrior.
God damn, Horalu gotta be my favorite boss. He really is like, you know what? You beat me up. I'm gonna wrestle the fuck out you. I'm gonna grab you, boy, and I'm gonna flip you in the air. You ever been powerbombed before? Oh, yeah, brother. Like, it's so great. Like, the fact that he just kind of runs at you, like, arms out, picks you up, jumps and slams you into the ground, gotta be one of my favorite bosses. Adventure Time's a great show to watch while you're on Novocaine. Damn. Probably like a grown-up version of that peanut butter baby, but it's like strawberry jam. Damn. Chris, that's a deep reference. I mean, I got it, but I'm old as fuck. That's a deep reference.
Who became known as the Lord of the Battlefield. His crown was warranted with strength, and while it was for this strength that Marika married him, he was also required to take a vow to conduct himself as a lord. To suppress the ceaseless lust for battle that raged within, Horalu took the beast regent Sarosh upon his back. You'll notice this is another example of a beast being given for the purpose of serving order. Thus, in this moment, he went from being Horalu, warrior, to Godfrey, the first Elden Lord, consort to Queen Marika, and a certified demigod.
Yo, that lion be munching on that shoulder. That lion be play biting, and Godfrey is just like, nah, I'm ignoring you. That's when your cat's clawing you because it wants your attention and you just don't want to look at it. It's like, maybe if I stop paying attention, it'll leave me alone.
Godfrey and Marika had 3 demigod children.
Oh, the power bombs on the honeymoon.
There was Godwyn the Golden,
yeah, but it's Marika doing the power bombs. Godfrey's actually a bottom. We just don't know it. He gets into the bedroom and Marika's like, all right, sweetie, it's 6 p.m. Time for your daily power bombing.
The opening trailer. And there were also the reviled Omen twins, Morgoth, who guards the Erd Tree, and Mohg, who became Lord of Blood. You might think that Godric was another demigod child, but he actually wasn't. Instead, he was probably descended from Godwyn. Anyway, we'll talk about the demigods more in detail in another video, so subscribe for that. But for now, just know that...
Can I join in that power bombing? No, but you can watch Flash. For $10, you can go to my Patreon, where you can get exclusive Godric power bombing. Let's go.
Godfrey
power bombing the power bottom.
were the first
Doc.
demigods, henceforth known as
Holy
the
shit!
lineage.
Red, thank you, Kai. I appreciate it. What's with the 5? What are you gifting me for? If you got gifted, make sure to thank Red. Make sure, because that was so sweet of you. God damn. That does bring us closer. That does bring us closer to the new bounty I added for today. It's over. You know what? Pointing's hard. Over here, my new bounty, which is once we hit 100 subs, I'm going to do a 12-hour stream. So, if you're interested in seeing a 12-hour stream from your boy, maybe it's a good time to sub. You want to get closer to the goal? Well, thank you, Red. I appreciate it. You've been so kind. You've been so kind this month. Ooh, things are breaking. Madigan Fansley confirmed. Oh, you know it. Wasn't the goal to pre-order DT before? Did someone slip you a 40? No, I had that goal for a couple streams and people didn't seem interested in it. So I figure if people don't seem interested in the goal, I'm just going to change it. Because it is ultimately a bounty for what chat wants to do. And I figured, well, if people aren't interested in, doing the gifts towards DT, I'll instead try a different way for people to be interested. I think it's better that way to maybe introduce different bounties. I give it a total of 40 so far. Oh, I know, Red. Oh, I know. You've been going crazy. You've been incredibly generous this month. Just make sure you're not spending too much money on me, okay? I always appreciate it, but make sure you got money for yourself. Maybe you know what, Kai? Next time you want to gift me subs, get yourself something first, because you've been gifting so much.
In his wars, Godfrey led his 16 Crucible Knights into battle.
Wait, I thought the Crucible Knights were heretical.
Who were named so for they fought with the primordial powers of the Erd Tree. Their incantations were aspects of the Crucible itself, and they likely fought giants, dragons,
of course, Chris,
the Stormlord, and more to usher in their age.
Gifting subs should always be an extra thing. It should never be like, oh, I'll gift subs instead of doing this. The first goal is for y'all to be successful and financially stable. And then if you have extra that you want to support your streamer with, that's what you should do. Don't ever spend money on me that you could use towards something for yourself,
The age of the Erd Tree.
In Marika's own words, hark, brave warriors. Hark,
I want y'all to be
Lord
successful,
Godfrey. We commend your deeds. Guidance hath delivered ye through each ordeal to the place ye stand. Put the giants to the sword and confine the flame atop the mount. Let a new epoch
going to PAX,
begin.
Chris. Ooh la
An
la.
epoch glistening with life. Brandish the Elden Ring for the age of the Erd Tree.
The Erd Tree would go on to be largely seen as a blessing for all of those in the lands between, especially those close to it in Lanedale.
Thanks for the 60 biddies, Doc. Don't tell me what to do. You're not my real dad. I'm more your real dad than your real dad is. You know why, Doc? Because you've probably spent more time with me in the past week than you have with your dad. And what does that have to say? What does that say? It says that I'm your real dad. How about that? Meeting a bunch of Final Fantasy friends for the first time. Ooh, that's cute, Chris. You got to share stories. At least take pictures of the con so you can share with chat. I need to see them. Especially because like I've never been to a PAX before, so it'd be cool to get like a first-hand experience. I do, but thanks. You're so sweet, Red. You're so sweet. And Doc, once again, thank you for the biddies, you nerd.
The capital
You
city
dork.
of the Erd Tree. The tree bestowed
Baka.
blessings.
It's not like
For
I like you.
example, the dew that dropped from its branches were like jewels. It loomed overhead as a constant reminder of order, and its roots reached far and wide, relieving many of the burden of death. In fact, Erd Tree burial was one of the highest honors a hero could receive. One by one, the previous factions of the world fell. The giants
the
were
new
put to
price
the
increase,
sword,
you're right.
and their fell god was killed by Marika herself. The ancient dragons broke down the walls of Lanedale, but met fierce retaliation. However, I think the House of the Erd Tree encountered the most trouble against the land to their southwest, Leonia. Here, the House of the Moon repelled their offensives time and time again, and I mean that literally, because there was not just one but two wars fought here, and in both of these, there was no victory for the Golden.
Ooh, I know this one. I heard this lore recently in the game. So the turtle told me that Radagon married Renala and unified the Golden Order with the Carrion Royal Knights. I think that's how the war ended. They didn't end up beating the Carrion nobility. I think it's a marriage to seal them together. I think.
Nor for the moon. And I suspect it was probably because of these lobsters. These damn things can snipe you from like a mile away, and it's bullshit. Actually, it was probably...
I so want to give two more because it's on its zero. Oh no!
I'd like to share a quote I saw and like your opinion on it. AI art made me believe the existence of a soul because I've now seen art made without any.
Interesting. Yasha, I have a response to that quote. AI art made me believe the existence of a soul because I've now seen art made without any. I say AI art is stolen souls. AI art is like a legion of stolen souls put together in a ball that is then picked from, because it's not like it doesn't have a soul. It's that it's stolen the souls of other artists, bits and pieces from all different art around the internet, and then coalesce them together in a legion of souls. That's my response to that. Thank you for the bits, Yasha. How you doing today, girlfriend?
Probably because of the Carrion Knights, who, according to their weapon...
Yeah. So my opinion on AI art, Chris, is the AI art is fine to use for a personal way, but if you're trying to make money off of AI art and using AI art to sell to people, that's when it gets morally incorrect. Because AI art in and of itself used for a personal, like, I want to make a picture for my friends. That doesn't mean anything. That's just using a tool to do something without any repercussions. However, if you then start up a Twitter account and you're like, this is my art, and start posting AI art, that's, I haven't seen my dad since he died when I was 7, so you're right, Maddie. So, Doc, I want to double down on my statement. How's that? Because you said, don't worry about it. So instead of backing up and apologizing, I'm going to double down and say, hell yeah. That means I am your dad right now. There's a vacant spot, and I slid in. I'm sorry. I took that too far. Hey, yo, the dead dad double down? That's... Damn, you hit me with the alliteration, too. The dead dad double down. This Sunday, we're hitting you up at the Monster Truck Rally with the dead dad double down. Slide it in, huh? What else you slide it into? I'm sliding into your DMs, Flash. You better be looking out for some feet pics later. That's what I'm saying. My dad passed away when I was 14, I think. I'm not great at reading time. Man, all y'all... Okay, can I... Okay.
Were able to wield swords.
I love you guys. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have dad doubled down, but I love you. So, forgive me, please. Wink.
Sorceress battle skills, and despite numbering fewer than 20, this power made them. It was probably because of the Carrier Knights, who, according to their weapons, were able to wield sorceress battle skills, and despite numbering fewer than 20, this power made them a match for even the champions of gold in battle. These enchanted knights were anointed by the Lunar Queen, a young astrologer who went on to establish the House of Caria as royalty in this land. With her bewitching lunar magic, she won over the Academy of Raya Lucaria, where glintstone sorcery was studied, and united.
Canceling me on Twitter now. I'm typing a twit longer right now using all the buzzwords. Oh no! Certified lover boy, certified YouTuber.
Carian royal family and the learned scholars of Raya Lucaria defended their home from the golden aggressors. At the head of this great golden army was Radagon.
You're right, I'm playing 4D chess,
Radagon
Flash.
was a great champion, possessed of flowing red locks. He came to these lands at the head of a great golden host. When he met Lady Renard.
Damn. Mom, can we have Renala? No, we have Renala at home, sweetie. we got Renala at home.
In battle.
These two champions clashed, fell in love, and joined their houses.
Radagon once cleansed himself with celestial dew, repented his territorial aggressions, and swore his love to Renala. The order of the Erdtree and the fate of the moon were
great value, Renala. You have store brand Renala.
The wounds of war forgiven.
You might think it strange that the Greater Will would permit this union, but it's not too odd, all things considered. As with most From Software games, sorcery and faith are just two sides of the same coin, and both of these powers stem from the cosmos. Radagon and Renala were known to have 3 children together. Lunar Princess Rani, who inherited her mother's propensity for lunar magic.
That's wife. That's wife. That's wife. Don't tell them.
Princess Rani, who inherited her mother's propensity for lunar magic.
I had to leave. Well, welcome back, Blover.
Who took after his father Radagon and would go on to master gravitational magic, and Rykard, who pioneered new hex sorceries and would go on to feed himself to a great serpent. It follows that at some point after this, Marika began to harbor doubts. Doubts about the Golden Order, that she had had a hand in creating.
In Marika's own words, I declare mine intent to search the depths of the Golden Order through understanding of the proper way. Our faith, our grace is increased. Those blissful early days of blind belief are long past. My comrades, why must ye falter?
And it's at this point that we should talk about Marika's motivations, her character. This is surely going to be one of those huge points of debate in the coming years, but for now, my working theory is that she wanted to discover the truth behind order and the truth behind the greater will, and she believed that bonds had to be broken so that they could be better understood. She believed that there was great meaning to be found in hardship.
Queen Marika has high hopes for us, that we continue to struggle unto eternity.
For Lord Godfrey, his struggle ended at the end of his campaigns. According to his armor, he led the war against the giants, faced the Storm Lord alone, and then there came a moment when his last worthy enemy fell, and it was then, as the story is told, that the hue of Lord Godfrey's eyes faded. In truth, he was robbed of his grace. Then Marika sent him away.
My lord, and thy warriors, I divest each of thee of thy grace. With thine eyes dimmed, ye will be driven from the lands between.
Horalu, chieftain of the Badlands.
Ye will wage war in a land afar, where ye will live and die.
This became known as the Long March of the Tarnished, as
That's us.
Godfrey and his tarnished descendants walked away from the lands between. But Queen Marika
Oh, I'm saying, Doc. I'm saying. The amount of work that's went into this lore video is crazy. Like, the B-roll for this is wild. You got Vivillon, you got Lechonk, Florigato. I do like me some Florigato. Tarantula? What's a tarantula? I don't know what that one is. Is that the electric spider?
absolutely had a plan here, that Lord Godfrey and his descendants would one day return stronger, having struggled outside of grace.
Then, after thy death, I will give back what I once claimed, return to the lands between, wage war, and brandish the Elden Ring, grow strong in the face of death. Warriors of my lord, Lord Godfrey.
Soon after, she found a new husband.
Oh.
Either that or a new husband was found for her.
When Godfrey, first Elden Lord, was hounded.
Okay, let me just do a quick summary of that so far. So Marika is now growing disillusioned with the Elden Ring. She wants to figure out what's going on. Why is she being like given power by an outer deity? And she decided to, as part of her plan, once she'd conquered the world, she sent Godfrey away with all the tarnished and divested them of grace. That's when we are in the game, we're like, oh, you're maidenless, you're graceless. So basically, she exiled him so that one day he would come back to conquer. And now she's marrying a new person. I'm assuming this is to get more power. No maidens? No maidens? The Pommy? Ooh, I love Pommy and I love Talonflame. They're pretty fucking great. Wait, Doc, you're an editor? Nice. Hey, I'm self-taught editing as well, and I'm terrible at it. So I feel yeah.
From the lands between, Radagon left
Hey, you know, I'll get rich one day, Doc, and I'll hire you as my editor. How's that?
Rennala to return to the Erdtree
One of
capital,
these days.
becoming Queen Marika's second husband and king consort, taking
Oh, shit.
the title of Second Elden Lord.
Damn, she cucked
The
Rennala.
mystery endures to this day as to why Lord Radagon would cast Lady Rennala aside, and moreover, why a mere champion would be chosen for the seat of Elden Lord.
Whatever the case, as a part of this union, Radagon's
So, okay, so Rennala was married to Radagon, and that united the Carrion royalty with the Erdtree, with the Golden Order. Now Marika is Mrs. Steal Your Man, cucks the shit out of Rennala, steals her husband. That's fucked up. I'm sorry for doing this again. What you doing? Never mind my bank. Ha! Your bank is stopping you. Rennala in the cuck chair where she belongs. I had a YouTube channel, but I stopped about 2 years ago because all the time it took both to film and edit. It's a lot. It is a lot, yeah.
prior 3 children with Rennala became demigod stepchildren.
You should,
Granted
Doc.
grace, thanks to their
You
new...
know, if you want to share any work in progress with me, I'd love to take a look at it. Because I know sometimes it's hard to put shit back out there. So if you make something and you want me to take a look at it just so I can be like, oh yeah, I think this is cool, or oh yeah, this might be something interesting, I would have no problem with taking a look at your videos, Doc. Bank's in Iowa and I'm not. Oh no.
family tree. Rennala was broken by this, and so was her country, Leonia. The Queen's set reads, when Rennala, head of both the Academy of Raya Lucaria and the Carrion royal family, lost her husband Radagon, her heart went along with him, and then those at the Academy realized that Rennala was no champion after all. In the wake of Radagon's betrayal and Rennala's poor judgment, Leonia struggled with civil war, with the Academy of...
Their leader got cucked so hard that they started a civil war. Renala got cucked so bad that there was a civil war that happened. Goddamn.
Raya Lucaria on one side, and the Carrion Royals on the other. And it's here, during the age of the Erd
wife.
Tree, that Lunar Princess Rani, daughter of Renala and Radagon, stole a fragment of the Rune of Death.
It happened during the golden age of the Erd Tree, long before the shattering of the Elden Ring. Someone stole a fragment of the Rune of Death from Malekith, the Black Blade.
As mentioned previously, Malekith was Marika's shadow, and he had sealed destined death in a black blade. Then a fragment, only a fragment, of this Rune of Death was stolen. And once this happened, Malekith went a step further in protecting destined death. He bound the blade within his own flesh, such that none might rob death ever again. It was too late, however. This fragment of the Rune of Death was used immediately, that night, to kill a demigod, Marika's own son, Godwyn the Golden.
That was the first recorded death of a demigod in all history, and it became the catalyst. Soon, the Elden Ring was smashed, and thus sprang forth the war known as the Shattering.
Now, there is a lot of really credible evidence that Marika was behind this plot to have a fragment of the Rune of Death stolen. There's also a ton of evidence that Marika is behind the entirety of your tarnished quest, but we'll talk about that in another video. For now, all you really need to know,
All according to
in terms of the
Keikaku.
timeline at least, is this. After the marriage of Marika and Radagon, and after a fragment of the Rune of Death was stolen, Marika went on to shatter the Elden Ring, and Radagon attempted to repair it, to no avail. The Elden Ring had been broken into runes, some great and some small.
You know, it's said that Lord Radagon harbored a secret. A famed sculptor of the Erd Tree capital was once summoned to render Lord Radagon's likeness in giant stature, when he glimpsed the skeleton in Radagon's closet. And as such, it's said the great statue harbors his secret too.
Of course, the huge twist in Elden Ring is that Radagon is Marika.
What? Radagon's Marika? Marika? What, did Marika like split a piece of themselves off? And then marry themselves to Renala and then cuck Renala by marrying themselves? That's just a theory. An Elden theory. So Radagon cucked Renala with himself. I think so. BRB, dogs gotta know out. We'll give them a kiss for me. Give them a kiss. Anyone got points to do a pup redeem? She's wearing a cute shirt.
Or depending on what you believe, he became her, for she knew it was going to happen.
In Marika's own words, O Radagon,
There we
loyal
go.
hound of the Golden Order, thou art yet to become me.
Puppy.
Thou art yet to become a god.
Puppy.
Let us be shattered, both.
Puppy.
Mine other self.
You can tell when From Software is keeping something a little bit open-ended, and of everything in Elden Ring's lore, this will also go on to be one of the biggest unknowns as we move forward. For example, the wording, thou art yet to become me, reinforces that Marika and Radagon were two separate entities before the Shattering. However, in contrast, there is also evidence that Radagon was always part of Marika. For example, Enya says that
The demigods are each and all the direct offspring of Queen Marika.
but how can this be if Radagon married Renala and had those demigod children? The only way that makes sense is if Radagon was always Marika and he just went over there to seduce Renala long ago. I'll present more concrete theories in the future, but on this matter, the most important thing is, what do you think? While you can figure out a ton of Elden Ring's story, not all of it is open to interpretation. Certain things are, and this is one of them. And your interpretation is a big part of what makes this story special. At any rate, the union of Radagon and Marika seems to be a union of two fundamental opposing laws of the Golden Order. We mentioned these laws earlier, actually. There's the law of causality, and Marika is an agent of cause and effect. And there's the law of regression, as Radagon is a character who aspires to be complete and regress together. So I have a theory that forcing these two beings that represent these concepts together would have corrected Marika's deviance. But even so, she was imprisoned in the Erd Tree for the crime of the Shattering.
Radagon's such a beautifully designed character. The model's gorgeous. I'm not gonna lie. And the multiple intersecting runes in its chest, so cool.
Marika's trespass demanded a heavy sentence. But even in shackles, she remains a god
so who shackled
and
her,
a vision's vessel.
The conjoined Radagon and Marika even had two demigod children of their own, Mikola and Millennia. These two children were
They impregnated themselves? What, did they split by mitosis? Like what?
born afflicted. Mikola was cursed with eternal childhood, and
Glow Cowgirl, welcome in. Hello to you. How you doing today?
Hello, cowgirl. It's good to see you off your ranch.
Closest I've seen someone cock themselves when a guy knew his wife was cheating, but instead of confronting her, he brought her family to the house on her birthday and surprised her while she was in the room with her lover. Damn! Oh, God. You already tried streamreviews.org. Oh, damn it. Damn it. Damn it. I thought Glow Cowgirl was a real person. The bots are getting smart. Starting with a high. Thank you, Flash Fox, for killing that bot. You know, sometimes it's hard, but you gotta old yeller them. You gotta take them out back and put them down like the rabid dogs they are.
Millennia harbored a horrific rot within.
You were the
Even
chosen
so,
one!
These two children were both chosen as Empyreans. They were immensely sacred beings and eligible to inherit godhood from the Greater Will. Perhaps the Greater Will was just desperate to find a worthy successor, and indeed in the Shattering War to come, many would try to claim the shards of the Elden Ring, and they would try to take the throne,
Thanks,
including,
Mystic.
of course, the Tarnished, who returned from their long march at long last, which we'll talk about in the next main lore video. I should probably also mention here that if you become a patron, you'll see upcoming lore videos early, as that's one of the rewards you get if you pledge to the $3 tier. And if you think my channel really adds a lot of value to the Souls games for you to the point where you pledge $20, then in this new tier, you'll receive a new mug every 3 months that has a unique design.
You can get a
on it
mug
to do
for
with the
joining their
games by From
Patreon?
Software. There are 4 to collect. The
Sheesh.
first one you'll get is inspired by Dark Souls, then Elden Ring, then Sekiro, and finally Bloodborne. And they all have fantastic art that I worked on with an amazing artist named Chu. But anyway, I figured this is the right place to end this video because the information here is going to be overwhelming. I bet it probably was too.
Okay, so let's see if we can do a quick summary of that video. So, there is Outer Gods. Outer Gods sent a parasite towards the lands between. That parasite is the Elden Beast. It burrowed into an already existing, like Yggdrasil style, like elder tree. When doing that, it chose someone with which to have its power fueled through, and it chose Marika. Marika then became a god, an Empyrean, who channeled the power of the Elden Beast through the Elden Ring. When doing so, she took the rune of death and sealed it within her shadow, Malekith, therefore taking death from the world. People were then buried in the roots of the Erd Tree, and their bodies and souls were then used to fuel the parasite that is the Erd Tree. Okay. Bathroom break for next video? Hell yeah. Shy Man, how you doing? And Neo, how you doing? My favorite lore virgin's live? Hell yeah. I'm such a virgin. I'm nervous. How you doing? One day we'll have mods on YouTube. I don't know about that. That would require me to remember to do things. Thank you, Mystic. I appreciate it. And yeah, Shy, how you doing today? So Marika America is now at war with everyone. She decides to shack up with Horaloo, the chieftain of the Badlands, who then becomes Godfrey, the first Elden Lord. He conquers the dragons, he conquers the giants, and she's like, all right, peace out, homie. You did what you wanted. Leave my country. I'm going to take your grace from you. You're maidenless. You're a hoe. Go out of here. And then she's like, all right, cool thing, though. I have this person that's me, and they're Radagon. I'm going to go send them to romance up the Carrion royalty. Renala and them and Marika as Radagon shack up. They make some kids. Then Marika cucks Renala with herself, who is Radon. They have kids with themselves. And Ronnie hatches a plot to steal a fragment of Destined Death and uses that to kill Godwyn. I think that's the video. That's insane. The lore of Elden Ring is way more intense than I had any idea of. Eileen, how you doing? Yes, in all caps. Oh my god, did I get it right? We need to bully him to add us as a YouTube mods. You do. I just need to be bullied constantly. I don't have a bullying kink. I don't. Good at work, unfortunately? No, not work. Not work, Shaman. Average from software lore. I don't know. I know the lore of like most of the Souls games, and this is way more convoluted. I mean, George R.R. Farton did work on it to kill Godwyn and herself. Ooh, that's right, Eileen, because she does kill herself, and you find her underneath where the meteor crashes, and she's by some murdered two fingers. And it's like her body that you interact with in the world is like a puppet that has her soul in it, right? I got a capybara in the mail. Annie, post it, please. I'm back, and Bank texted me if the gifted sub was fraud, and I said no. So, are you sure you want to be subbing to this guy? He seems a little weird. He keeps talking about cucking, and I don't know. Your bank's a little sus of me. A living one or a toy? Well, what do you think? What do you think? All right, I'm going to be right back. I'm going to grab some water. If any of you leave right now, I will know, and I will cuck your parents. Not the gifted subs as I leave, Red. Not the gifted subs as I leave. Cheesy Creek, thank you. If you got gifted a sub, please thank Red. Red has been an insanely charitable person recently. Thank you so much. And that does put us 7 subs away from our sub goal. You see right here. 12-hour stream and 7 more subs. Oh, all right. Is everyone ready for the next video? I am. I'm ready. I am so ready. You posted the toy? Ooh, let me see. Oh my god. Is that a capybara with like toast around it? Is it got like a piece of bread wrapped around its neck? That is so good. All right, one's in chat if you're ready. One's in chat if you're ready. Otherwise, if I don't see a one, how am I supposed to know you're here? Someone, how you doing? I'll be nice, and that'll be my last. Red, seriously, thank you. 2? 6? Okay, well, Flash, are you propositioning me? Are those May gloves you have on? You noticed, did you, Neo? Stop. I didn't dress up for you at all. It couldn't be. 420? Oh, good. Roxy, how you doing? 42? Now, say, did you try to do 420 or did you try to do 42? Who said 420? Very stylish, my dear. Well, thank you. All right. Next video. I'm going to do a quick little YouTube intro. Give me a second while I do that. All right. Oh, by the way, make sure you always like a video. All right. We are back again with another YouTube video explaining the lore of Elden Ring and our prep for Elden Ring's DLC. I'm super excited to see all the lore and the gameplay that comes with the DLC, but I don't know much about the lore currently. So we are going through our deep dive of VaatiVidya's lore series with his second one, Elden Ring's Demigods Explained. Isn't the meaning of life 42? Yes, the meaning of life, the universe, and everything. Dang it, he has YouTube chat on? Of course I do, someone. Of course I do. I'm getting so much better. I have not had my YouTube chat off screen this whole time. I just liked your stream. Thank you, Neo. Yeah, everyone who's in Twitch, if I've made you laugh today, go open up the YouTube stream and like it. It helps out. All right, we're starting the second lore video. Let's go, y'all.
The demigods are each and all the direct offspring of Queen Marika. There was Godwyn, Morgoth, Mohg, Radahn of Queen Marika.
One thing I gotta say.
There was Godwyn, Morgoth.
Morgoth's voice actor is inspirational for me. Every time Morgoth's voice actor comes on in the game, it gives me chills. I love the voice actor. Just, God.
Thou art of passing skill, tarnished. Warrior blood must truly run in thy veins.
It's just so good. Thank you, Eileen. I appreciate it. I appreciate ya. Yeah, he actually does have YouTube chat open this time. I'm impressed. I've had it. Okay, I will say for the past 3 streams, I think I've been pretty good with the YouTube chat. I will say. I struggle with Mohg more than Malenia. A lot of people say Mohg is the hardest boss in the game. Especially because you had to beat Mohg for the new DLC. According to FlashFox, people are just riddling the front of the arena with their summon signs, like helping people get to the DLC. It's so cute. It's so cute.
Morgoth, Mohg, Radahn, Rykard, Ranni, Miquella, and Malenia, Blade of Miquella.
Man, he really had to show the stab, huh?
Malenia, Blade of Miquella. Malenia, Blade of Miquella. And Malenia. Not again. All of these demigods had fallen from grace by the time the shattering occurred. But in this video,
Good King Moogelmog? Oh god. It's Good King Moogelmog, but completely like dark and evil. Like Good King Moogelmog coming around dancing, but covered in blood. Just covered in blood and viscera, kidnapping children. Which, if you don't know, Mohg is a child kidnapper, so just saying. Just saying. He'll never find me. I see you, someone. I am Malenia, Blade of Miquella, and I have never known defeat. I've seen so much art of Ranni. I've seen a lot of art. All I gotta say is, if you're looking up Ranni on Google Images, make sure your safe search is on if you're in public. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Origins of these characters. Who these demigods were before the fall. And some of these demigods.
Damn, Kai, you hopping around.
Indeed. Before he became this unsightly mess, Godwyn the Golden was quite the heroic figure. He was born of the promising union between Lord Godfrey and Queen Marika, and he achieved great renown for his bravery in one of their wars at least, the War of the Ancient Dragons. This war began when Gransax, a great ancient dragon...
How many of y'all in your playthroughs didn't realize you had to climb the dragon? Because if I wasn't led by FlashFox and Keo, I don't know how long it would have taken me to climb this dragon. Of course I see you, someone. You can't hide from me. I see you when you're sleeping. I know when you're awake.
Rained calamity down upon Leyndell, marking the only time in historical record that Leyndel's walls had fallen. It's not clear why Gransax first attacked, but fortifying themselves against lightning, the Knights of the Erdtree weathered his assault and Gransax was defeated. However, this was only the beginning, and a bitter war against the ancient dragons
B-roll is so good.
During this,
I rage quit that game so bad I need to go back to it. Eileen, can I recommend something to you? This won't work for the DLC, but they have a mod for the game called Seamless Co-op, where you know how you can like summon people for bosses? The mod lets you play with your friends through the entire game. Like everyone gets torrent, everyone gets loot. You don't have to like summon and resummon. I've been playing through with two of my chatters, and it's been so much fun because I can't play the game really either, but the seamless co-op has been so good. So good. I never climbed or fought Melania. I feel like a lot of people haven't, Shy.
The Erdtree Sentinels had an epiphany that the only way to truly protect the Erdtree was to become dragons themselves.
You to try? You should.
So,
it's pretty easy to install too. It's not that hard of a mod.
The grotesque Sentinels served the Erdtree, but fought with the claws of the enemy instead. In the end, the ancient dragons were routed.
Berserk reference. Berserk reference. Berserk reference. Oh my god, Berserk reference in a From Software game?
Once again. In a graveyard of swords by the Stormcaller Church, the end of the war is commemorated. Here, we learn that during battle, Godwyn the Golden defeated Fortisax, called the mightiest dragon of them all. However, he did not kill Fortisax. Instead,
Mango, how you doing, bud?
And it was in this act that the powers of the ancient dragons truly became a part of Leyndell.
We're gonna drop a JoJo's reference?
Oh, mukate kuru no ka?
After all, only those loved by dragons can survive the ordeal of cladding their bodies in lightning. So, from an unlikely friendship, an ancient dragon cult was born in the capital city, and the Knights of Leyndell learned to worship the dragons and wield their lightning. Lanciax, sister of Fortisax, even took human form to better commune with the knights. It was officially decided that the worship of the ancient dragons did not conflict with belief in the Erdtree.
Wait a minute. The whole war is fought on the predication that the dragons need to be eradicated by the Golden Order. And then the Golden Order is actually like, well, you know what? Maybe it's not heretical to worship the dragons. Maybe it's not heretical. Wait a minute. Religions changing what they believe in to benefit themselves? What? Did you know that Dio's English VA also voices Jiren in Dragon Ball Super? I did not know that. I did not. Anytime I see mention of dragons taking human form, I think they slept with the dragons, didn't they? Coward talk, sleep with the dragon when they're not in human form.
And it was all thanks to Godwyn, commander of the dragon's golden lightning, and a true child of the golden lineage. But now, let's talk about Morgoth and Mohg, the Omen twins, who were also born of Godfrey and Marika's.
Of course they did. Of course they did. Of course they did. You're so right, Eileen. Okay, if you had... Okay, I need you to look me in the eyes, stream. I need you to look me in the eyes and tell me that if you had the opportunity to lay with a dragon, you wouldn't. Look me in my eyes and tell me no. It's going to be hard to type without looking at your keyboard, I know, but I mean, you have to, come on. You have to be honest with yourself.
First, what is an
We're all
omen?
bards at heart.
Well, to put it simply, an omen is an accursed child seen as impure.
I ain't gonna lie like
as
that,
they are
Mango, I
born
appreciate
with
it.
horns on the
You're
body
brave.
and face. When this happens, the correct thing to do is Marika's golden lineage.
I definitely didn't hit play before changing my scene. I didn't do it.
The Omen twins, who were also
born
born of Godfrey and Marika's golden lineage. First, what is an omen? Well, to put it simply, an omen is an accursed child seen as impure, as they are born with horns on the body and face. When this happens, the correct thing to do, culturally at least, is to cut off the horns of the omen, an act which usually causes them to perish.
Oh my god, the horns have meat in them. The horns have meat in them. In real life, horns don't have meat in them. Horns don't bleed when you cut them. They're chitinous. Hresfelger's pretty hot. Shiva wasn't wrong. Neo, down bad. I wonder if horn meat's chewy. I imagine it's kind of like a cactus. Like, you know how, let me pull it up. Let me see. I can show this off. I can show this off. It's kind of like a prickly pear, one might say.
Let's get started.
Okay, okay.
All right.
So yeah, you get the cactus fruit.
I just want to point out, some purple like this.
Oh, come
help
on.
To fight inflammation. They're high in vitamins.
This person is not helping me out here. Cactus. Okay, so cactus fruit prickly pears are really really cool looking because you cut them open and it almost looks like a
First, you want to pick one that is only red.
Almost looks like a push pop.
No yellow, no green. Few bugs on it. Yellow in it. That one is over.
Okay. Here we go.
Critters on that.
See, doesn't it kind of look like this?
And basically,
you get that little like
nice
fleshy,
and clean, and then we'll show you in
like
part
push pop
two where
looking
we
inside.
Take off the white outer peel. So he's ready to go.
Look at that.
To the
Look
kitchen.
at that. I'm so correct. Like the meat here versus the meat here. It's so perfect. I don't like this horn meat lore.
It's pretty messed
As an
up.
Alrod, it makes me
But
uncomfy.
some omen do survive.
Neo, can you feel your horn meat? Can you feel the meat in your horns?
Of this process, and some omen are even given a cleaver crafted specifically for them and awarded as a tool of war, although these weapons are bestowed with a readiness to take them away. We find one such omen in an Erd tree camp upon the Altus Plateau. Before you fight it, you might have noticed another omen nearby writhing in its sleep. It's said that omens see evil spirits in their nightmares, and I think this
Stay on
omen
topic.
is
Roxy, this is a Madigan stream. If I stayed on topic, how would that be true to my soul? Good luck with that. Exactly, Flash. I am ADHD streamer extraordinaire. Keeping me on topic? On topic!
streaming, haunted by the vengeful spirits of its accursed kin. This brings us to the Omen Killers, who are horrifying butchers of twisted conscience. They wear these horned masks that make a mockery of the Omen's nightmares, and these butchers hunt the Omen and amputate their horns. The first Omen killer was named Rollo, a famous perfumer who had to imbibe a physic.
Do you think the pure... Speaking is my profession. Speaking is my profession. I can talk. Do you think perfumers smell good in Elden Ring? Or do you think they need stinky perfumes? Thank you for the stretch.
To rid himself of emotion so that he could better
Neo,
perform his
careful for the
tasks.
cracks. They're coming.
Remember, it seems many Omen have their horns excised when they're very young. That's definitely disturbing enough to warrant an emotion-killing physic in my book. However, if the Omen is born of royalty, then their horns are not cut off, but the Omen is kept underground, unbeknownst to anyone, and imprisoned for eternity. By way of example, you would have seen all kinds of Omen confined to the
Bell's
sewers
showing off
beneath
Pride Month.
Leyndell. But
you might not be able to
why
see.
are Omen...
Let me check. Belle is showing off Pride Month with her shirt right now. Show your colors. Show your colors, chat. My dog is a lesbian ambassador. Isn't that right, Belle? Isn't that right? Isn't that right, Belle? Look at that. Oh, look at that blep. Look at that blep. She's such a blep. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Mwah. And ready for this, chat? Are you ready? Boom. He switched the scene back. It's almost like he does this as a job.
Considered to be accursed in the first place. Some of them are clearly intelligent, so what's inherently wrong with being born with horns and great strength? Well, it's important to remember, I think, that this curse might only really exist in the context of the Golden Order. After all, those afflicted with omen horns are not able to return to the Erd Tree for rebirth, and are said to be born outside.
Chris, I wanted to pretend like you didn't get me. I really wanted to pretend like you didn't get me, but you know what? It's funnier if I own my mistake. You said you pressed the button twice, it went back to the other view. First of all, that's not how it works. That's not even how it works. Like, even if I believed you, I should know naturally that's not how it works. But I checked anyway. I literally looked over at my other screen, pulled up my OBS, was like, oh no, it's correct. God damn it, Chris. How could you do this to me? Speech 100. Deception check pass, nat 20. You guys, you all know that I am very gullible. It's not okay to abuse me like this. I trust too much. If you abuse my trust too much, how am I to trust again? Come on.
Of its grace.
I'm gonna rewind a little bit.
Place. Some of them are clearly intelligent, so what's inherently wrong with being born with horns and great strength? Well, it's important to remember, I think, that this curse might only really exist in the context of the Golden Order. After all, those afflicted with omen horns are not able to return to the Erd Tree for rebirth, and are said to be born outside of its grace. But why does the Golden Order disavow the omen, then? Well, it's hard to say for sure, but my working theory is that it's to do with the Crucible. According to this ancient incantation, horns were once an aspect of the Erd Tree's primordial crucible, where all life...
Oh! So the horns are indicative of the original tree that the parasite burrowed into. Oh. Meep? Meep! Welcome in, that one male and that one guy. Oh no. Oh god, there's multiple of you. Oh no.
Was once blended together. And with the exception of a couple of Crucible Knights in and around Leyndell, we know that the Golden Order has started to distance itself from most things that touch upon the Crucible. While things like horns, knots, feathers, and scales once grew on the human body and were considered signifiers of the divine, now they are disdained as impurities as civilization has advanced. We learn this from the knot, scale, and feather talismans,
I'm about to ban them,
all
depending.
of which are guarded by omen, or dropped by omen killers, no less. Unfortunately for the Order of the Erd Tree, these once divine impurities seem to crop up in some births, whether they like it or not. Almost like it's a genetic trait, as if it touches upon the crucible at the root of the Erd Tree. And so you have to ask, is it really a curse to be born as a graceless omen? Well, as with most curses in these games, I think that depends on your perspective. In any case, Mohg and Morgott were omen royalty, and thus they were born into a wretched mire far below the earth, horns and all. Here they were kept under the strictest confinement. Each of them were bound with charmed shackles that were covered in roots or thorns and bathed in golden magic. It seems very few people were supposed to know that they even existed. Morgott, for his part, renounced and despised his accursed omen blood, but his brother Mohg embraced it. Deep underground, Mohg stood before an outer god.
I will say, like, if horns are indicative of blasphemy, then this makes sense. Bro's horn is growing into his eye. That's upsetting on, like, a number of levels.
Being called the form.
You know what this kind of reminds me of? It kind of reminds me of, like, you know how rat teeth will grow if they don't chip them down? And it'll end up going through their mouth. Interesting. Interessant.
Formless mother who craves wounds, a being capable of bestowing power upon accursed blood. In this moment, Mohg's accursed blood erupted with fire, and he became besotted with the defilement that he was born into. Here, deep below the earth, he would go on to build a dynasty of blood in reverence of a mother. Something it seems he never truly had. As for Morgott, he was born into the same accursed fate as his twin brother, but despite not being blessed with grace, he loved the Erd Tree all the same, and even took it upon himself to crawl out of the sewers and become the Erd Tree's protector when the Erd Tree needed him most. In the end, he rightfully became the Omen King and Lord of Leyndell. omen or not, he was, after all, born of Godfrey and Marika's golden lineage. Of course, the marriage between Godfrey and Marika would be ended, and before long, Marika remarried with another man, a champion.
Well, another man, themselves. You know, I don't know if you say another man. They kind of had a little bit of self-love. A little bit of self-love never hurts someone once in a while. You know, you hop on your computer, you turn Save Search on.
Who Marika calls her
Go incognito mode.
He became second Elden Lord and the king consort, but he also brought with him 3 children from a previous marriage that he had had with a Carian queen named Renala. These children were Rani, Rykard, and Radahn, and they all became demigod stepchildren after Radagon's reunion with Queen Marika. Possessed of his father's flaming red hair, Radahn was fond of its heroic implications and considered himself to be born of a great champion. Yet he also looked up to another man, Godfrey, the first Elden Lord, Queen Marika's first husband and the Lord of the Battlefield. But Radahn wasn't just the son of Radagon, and...
See, Roxy, I'm giving recommendations to my ISP. You know, people on my ISP, I can just give them, like, a curated list of good shit to look at. You know what I'm saying? The self-love that you need to have to make your own child with yourself. You know, just a modicum of self-love.
An aspiring lord of the battlefield, he was also the son of Renala, who was head of the Academy of Raya Lucaria and Queen of Caria. So as a Carian royal, inclined towards sorcery, Radahn bent his will towards mastering gravitational magics. Rock sling, gravity well, collapsing stars. These techniques were taught to him in Celia, the town of sorcery, all so he would never have to abandon his beloved but scrawny steed.
I'm sorry. He learned gravity magic because he was too fat to ride his horse? I mean, based. I mean, that's so cool. In a story that's talking about, like, split people making children with themselves and outer gods summoning primordial deities, the fact that Radahn is just like, man, my horse is tiny and sick. I gotta learn to not be so fat. Bro mastered a school of magic because he liked his horse. You know, everyone talks about horse girls. What about horse guys? Big man, small horse. Big man, small horse.
That said, before long, his powers would be put towards a more cosmic purpose than simply allowing him to ride his own horse. Radahn was taught gravitational magic by an Alabaster Lord, a member of a race of ancients with skin of stone who was said to have risen to life when a meteor struck long ago. And when his lessons were complete...
Bro, you don't need to learn how to manipulate reality and not be fat. Just go on daily runs and come back on fatty foods. Yo, people trying to lose weight will make any excuse. People losing weight will learn gravity magic instead of stop eating sweet foods. He says, as he ate brownies yesterday. I'm trying. Chat, I have lost weight. I'm down 20 pounds from what I was a couple months ago. I was at 290. I'm down to 270. So I'm pretty proud of myself. I'm pretty proud.
Radahn uttered these chilling words.
Thank you for your tutelage. For now, I can challenge the stars.
And, of course, he did conquer the stars, and the very constellations would be halted by his strength.
Chris.
But, of course, you kind of have to ask, why? Why was it necessary to conquer the stars in the first place? Well, I have a couple of theories. Theory 1 is that it was done in self-defense. After all, according to the sword gravestone, Radahn was protected.
I lost the weight of the brownies from the brownie dish. Damn. Yeah, that is one way to lose weight. Losing weight of the food into you. I lost weight by eating food and then pooping it out. That's how I lost weight.
Celia, What's more, gravitational magic has
this
destructive
guy.
power, and many gravitational
This guy
beasts
sucks.
are proof of that destructive power. A being named Astel had even come down to the lands between in the past and destroyed a place called the Eternal City.
Nokron.
What's more, Celians are descendants of the Eternal, positioned right above the Eternal City underground, so there is an argument to be made for Radahn purely defending Celia for some reason here. But it's possible for Radahn to have fought in this conflict and to have made the first move.
Well, Roxy, just get a wasting sickness. You know, just go, like, get malaria or something. You'll shit all your weight out that way. Get a nice BM going, you know, get the bidet running.
As well. So this is theory 2, that Radahn conquered the stars as a preventative measure in service to the greater will. According to a set of astrologer items, the night sky cradles fate. There's even a banished sect of people called the Nox, who
Just order a
live deep
mosquito
below the
from
earth
Africa.
in
Oh,
eternal
no.
anticipation of the coming age of stars.
Malaria
and their
delivery right
Lord
to your
of Night.
house.
Long ago, these people invoked the ire of the greater will. So,
damn, girl. Damn. She thick, though.
it would make sense that those in service to the greater will might have sought to arrest the stars and put an end to this fate. What's more, Radahn was just a huge fanboy of Godfrey, and he seems to have more loyalty to the Erd Tree than to the moon. Finally, the telescope item description says that the fate once writ in the night skies had been fettered by the Golden Order.
There's now two
So
of you?
surely
Oh,
this
God.
is referencing Radahn's actions,
Oh,
and
God.
it levels the blame at the Golden Order. But putting Radahn's motivations aside, it's a fact that the stars were held back, and that this had great consequences for many, especially for the rest of his Carrion royal family.
Let me explain. The fate of the Carrion royal family is guided by the stars, as is the fate of Lady Rani, first heir in the Carrion royal line. But General Radahn is the conqueror of the stars, who stood up to the swirling constellations, halting their movement in a smashing victory. And so, if General Radahn were defeated, the stars would once again resume their movement.
Okay, so there are outer gods that came from space. Radahn mastered gravity magic and held the stars at bay. The second he dies, a new star falls to the ground and breaks open the earth. And that is where we continue with the storyline of Rani. And Rani, being of the Carrion royal family, her fate is bound by the stars. So essentially, Radahn was locking away Rani's fate. And Rani has us kill him and open up Nokron that way. Interesting. Ooh. God, the lore is so cool to this. All right, all right.
As would.
We got fresh kitty pics? Fresh kitten pics. Baby. Apollo's favorite spot. Oh my God. Hi, Apollo. Give Kitty a hug for me. So you guys probably didn't see this if you weren't in the Discord. Little baby Char was ready for her walk today. I went downstairs and I started getting Belle ready. Char charged through the house, jumped up and ran right into her bag, spun around and did a little sit. She was so ready for her walk today. It was so fucking cute.
Lady Rani's destiny.
Luna Princess Rani
I know, I'm
was
terrible,
the daughter
Flash.
of Radagon and Renala, and sister to Radahn. Interestingly, if you look at her true body atop the Divine Tower, it looks like she might have also inherited the red hair of Radagon. Cool detail. But unlike her brother, Radahn, she quite clearly took after her mother more, who was Renala, head of the Carrion royal family. The House of
Mrs. Cuck herself.
Caria has this storied history, one that seems to go way back to the astrologers. In the Carrion Manor, we find one of their treasures, the Sword of Night and Flame. It reads, astrologers who preceded the sorcerers established themselves in mountaintops that nearly touched the sky and considered the fire giants their neighbors. Renala herself was an astrologer, always chasing the stars.
The hat looks so dumb on a regular Tarnished. It looks okay on her because she's so big, but like, Tarnished do not look good in that set.
In her youth, then she met the full moon, and in time, the astrologer became a queen.
Pinhead, look at
establishing
which one
the
of you's
house
the
of
real
Caria as
Pinhead.
royalty. Caria appears to have a matriarchal hierarchy with multiple princesses and Carian knights that serve as their retainers. Now, however, there is only one princess, Rani, daughter of Renala. And at the time of her birth, she would have been set to inherit quite a lot of power indeed, for the Carian royal family was at its height, and her mother was not only queen, she was also head of the Academy of Raya Lucaria, having bewitched them with the enchanting power of the full moon. Leading the young Rani by the hand, Renala guided her daughter to a meeting with a moon of her own. What Rani beheld was cold, dark, and veiled in occult mystery. A dark moon, a sort of twin to Renala's own full moon. You can even see both of these hanging in the sky.
Is this literal? Like she's literally talking to the moon? Or is it figurative, like she's communing with the magic of the moon? The hat looks like a hot dog? Looking like a hot dog!
Sky if you stargaze from the heights of the Moonlight Plateau. Another who guided Rani was a character called the Snowy Crone, who the young Rani encountered deep in the woods. When you look at Rani, it's actually the likeness of this snow witch that you're seeing, as the doll that now houses Rani's soul was modeled after her, probably as a sign of respect. Clearly, Rani looked up to this mysterious woman. She became...
So that's not even what Rani looks like. Wait, is Rani catfishing us? She's puppeting a body that looks like someone else. Rani's catfishing us.
Rani's secret mentor, and she even knew about the Dark Moon, teaching the young Rani to fear it as she imparted her cold sorceries. So, what do these moons represent? That's just a theory.
Yeah, she's catfishing us. You know what? You know what? I don't mind. I know she wants to like eclipse the world in like a perpetual night and wants to like kill gods and catfishes us, but like, have you seen those toes?
As guides, the lost black moon of Noxtella, for example, was the guide of countless stars. What's more, Rani and Renala were heavily influenced by their moons. Renala's moon bewitched the academy that she became the head of, and Rani's dark moon, for its part, also imparts wisdom and leads a voyage in the Age of Stars ending. They could even be outer gods. And yet, for all of this guidance, Caria and Leonia as a whole have experienced steep decline. Radagon betrayed the House of the Moon. Radahn locked the stars out.
I'm noticing a trend, by the way. Why everyone bare feet? Why everyone bare feet in this game? Miyazaki, why everyone got their digits out? You got the old finger crones gripping their staffs. You got, queens and kings with their grippers out. Are you kidding me? Shoes were never invented? What about the shoe slot on the character? What do you mean?
Radagon betrayed the House of the Moon. Radahn locked the stars out of motion. The Academy town is flooded to the north. Caria has been ruined in the west, and the stars and moon have gone their separate ways. Nevertheless, Rani, last princess of Caria, remains.
Bare feet? Yeah, would you rather be stuck in the woods with a man's feet or a bear's feet?
Fully setting new plans into motion. Sibling to Rani and Radahn was a man named Rykard.
We shall devour the gods together.
God, the performances in this game are so good. I feel like is there even an NPC that doesn't have a great performance in this game? It's so good. New fear unlocked.
Who was lord of the Volcano Manor. There is evidence that Rykard was friendly with his siblings. He conspired with his sister Rani later on, and there's even a portrait of Radahn hung in the Volcano Manor, as well as a portrait of Rykard himself before the fall. Item descriptions mark Rykard as stern, ambitious, heroic, and blasphemous. Part of this blasphemy was opposing the Erd Tree, which actually drew many knights to his banner, for Rykard believed in taking by force. just as the gods did, and clearly many believed that he would usher in a new age. The armor set of the Gelmir Knights reveals to us what were once very loyal soldiers.
You get blisters on your feet from shoes? Are you not wearing the correct shoe size or something, Chris? That's not good. Or do you just have like sensitive skin? I've never been a flip-flops guy. I don't like the sound they make.
The crest of red feathers are there to symbolize Rykard's pedigree as Lord Radagon's son, and the emblem upon their chest piece represents a lord who had lofty ambitions. However, as Rykard delved into the ancient secrets of Mount Gelmir, he came across the immortal Great Serpent, an ancient deity that aligned with Rykard's ambitions. And so, Rykard fed himself to the Great Serpent so that he might devour, grow, and live eternally. Alas, this was too much for his knights, and they believed that their master's heroic ambitions had degenerated into mere greed. So they searched desperately for a weapon with which they might halt their lord, and they found it too. The immortal serpent had lived for a long time, and so there was also a weapon to kill it that had been designed long ago as well.
Oh, not very good at being immortal then.
But it was too late. As the lord lost his dignity, so too did the knights lose their master. Not that it bothered Rykard.
Now we can devour gods together.
Now we can devour the gods together. So good. Oh, good.
Next, we need to discuss Millennia and Mikola. These two were twins, as they were born. No, Rykard, please. Anyway, as you know, Radagon's marriage with Rennala did not last. Afterwards, he returned to the Golden Order and became Queen Marika's consort. But what I haven't yet mentioned is that, together, they were blessed with two...
I love Vonti. Holy shit. Listen closely, listen closely, listen closely.
But what I haven't yet mentioned is that, together...
The second he says together, he plays Rykard's together really quietly in the background. I fucking love Vonti.
They were blessed with two demigod children, the so-called twin prodigies. Now, in the last lore video, I briefly proposed that these two twins were born after the Shattering, after Radagon and Marika had merged together to become a single god. However, I've since changed my mind. I think Millennia and Mikola were clearly born before the Shattering. There's just so much proof that these two twins were a force that were influencing the world long before the Shattering took place. Anyway, both of these twins were born afflicted. Specifically, in the Japanese text, it's said that their births were vulnerable. Mikola was born afflicted with eternal youth, and Millennia, for her part, was vulnerable to rot. Interestingly,
yo, one person gets to be young forever, the other person rots. I'm sorry, that seems like a disparity. It's like, oh hey, I'm eternally youthful. Oh hey, my body is rotting from the inside out.
Millennia's Scarlet Rot is actually an outer god. This outer god, like many others in the game, seems to have an order that is able to be imposed upon the world via an Empyrean vessel, and Millennia was that vessel. And while the Scarlet Rot is pretty terrible, you can sort of argue that it's got a beauty to it. According to Gowry...
That's copium. That's copium from someone who's died to Scarlet Rot too many times. You know, maybe it's not that bad. It's kind of beautiful. All right.
The order of rot is resplendent. It's a cycle of death and rebirth. Kind of like the lotus flower, which is a flower that blooms anew, beautiful and fresh from mud. I actually have art of this flower hanging in my home. I always love the symbol of it.
Hashtag rot lovers. Okay.
And I'm going to talk about all of this artwork that you can buy at the end of the video. Anyway, so Millennia the Empyrean was vulnerable to and afflicted by the Scarlet Rot. There was said to be no cure to this, and while fire
and if they're eternally young, that's a curse. It's eternal life. Oh, 100% they're cursed. I'm not saying that that it's not bad. Like, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't want to be eternally young and immortal. However, the disparity between the two curses, it's like, one is eternally young, so yeah, that sucks, you're immortal, and you kind of have to deal with being young forever. The other one is rotting from the inside out, constantly in pain, their body falling apart, and having to have their body parts replaced. I just think one's a little bit more intense. I can't wear flip-flops to my cerebral palsy. What do you wear instead? Do you just wear regular shoes, or is there something special you need to wear for that?
Consecration seem to be
Casual display plug
at warding it
I
off.
hey, I ain't gonna blame no one for putting a sponsor in their video. That's why we're No, we're not. We don't got no sponsors. Although, hey, you know what? You know what, chat? We could totally do a sponsor. Let me just take a look at what we have available. Hey, does anyone want me to take a sponsorship from hey, you know what? Right now, I could get a sponsorship from Shop Titans. Ooh, who wants me to take a sponsored offer from Shop Titans? Oh my god, I've always loved this game. What, you never heard of it? Come on. Leprosy? Yeah, kinda. Except for if the leprosy then, like, extended to people in the land around you. Imagine only having 15 options. I have 17. Well, you're just better than me. Anything for the bag? I don't think so. Raid Shadow Legends! Nah. Because, like, a lot of them need you to participate in it, and that just feels fucked up. Like if I'm doing a sponsorship and it's not requiring my audience to do shit, and it's just me showing something off, sure. But it's like, play Raid Shadow Legends on stream, and then you get money based on if your chat gets to, like, level 5, and it's kind of dumb. Like, the sponsors I like are ones that give benefit to y'all and not just ask y'all to do shit for me. Like, for example, when I was sponsored by Factor, like, I've been sponsored by them a couple times. That I'm okay being sponsored by, because it's like, yeah, I'm getting you a discount. I like the service, you know. Wuthering Waves one got eaten up right away. It was funny to see. Yeah, I could have. I didn't want to jump on the bandwagon, though. I wear leg braces with shoes. Oh, okay. So you need a leg brace to be able to fit in the shoe. That's why you can't do a flip-flop. That makes sense. I like to be immortal if I had the ability to shut off my immortality. Oh, of course, yeah. Immortality with the ability to shut it off, that's like the dream. It's like, yeah, I'm going to be immortal until I don't want to be anymore. That's perfect.
Millennia would slowly lose her physical self to the rot. Interestingly, old legends of the Scarlet Rot have persisted in the world for generations, and we learn more about the Rot God from the Blue Dancer charm. The dancer in...
That's the charm that makes you do more damage if you're naked. That's the degenerate talisman for people who want to be naked.
Blue represents a fairy who, in legend, bestowed a flowing sword upon a blind swordsman. Blade in hand, the swordsman sealed away an ancient god, a god that was rot itself. Specifically, this god was long ago sealed away in the stagnant water that is downstream of the Ainsel River underground. And wherever rot appears, the kindred of rot appear as well.
I fucking
These
hate
are
those
pests
things.
And servants of the rot.
I hate those things so much.
Now, in the current age, these are servants that have been forsaken by Millennia, who is their new goddess. So, this blind swordsman with the flowing curved sword actually went on to become Millennia's mentor. So technically it's him that we have to blame for this goddamn attack.
Wait a minute. The blind swordsman that sealed the rot away teaches Millennia? That's so cool. Way, you're wearing gloves. Eamon, I'm assuming you're asking why am I wearing gloves? 2 reasons. 1, because they're cute. 2, because they compress my arms and make them hurt less. That's why. Welcome to chat, Eamon.
Prosthesis wearer heirloom tells us more. A talisman
How you doing today?
with a scene from a heroic tale. Though born into the accursed rot, when the young girl encountered her mentor and his flowing blade, she gained wings of unparalleled strength. Millennia's ridiculous attack is called the Waterfowl Dance, and aesthetically it makes sense that, flowing waters would counter the effects of rot. For just as still waters turn foul, stagnation turns to decay. Thus,
I
warriors
imagine,
must
Mystic. I imagine it takes a while to put them on, too.
Ever drifting. And indeed, Millennia does resist.
I do love the
call
gloves,
of
you're
the rot.
correct.
There's a lot of evidence that she's not really
I feel
a
a little
willing
cute
vessel,
while wearing them.
but through sheer will and sense of self, she resists the rot. And only when she is truly pressed in battle will she abandon this will and bloom into the goddess within. Millennia's first bloom was during her fight against Radahn. and releasing her scarlet rot was a last-ditch effort that would forever taint the land of Caelid and cripple Radahn. So, whatever she was fighting for in this fight against Radahn, somehow it was worth this terrible act. In general terms, at least, it's clear that Malenia was fighting for her brother. Apart from the time...
Alright, so quick recap here. Malenia is cursed with rot when she's born because she has the ability to channel a god. She's an Empyrean like her mother, Malenia. Not Malenia. Her mother, Malenia's mother is Marika. So she's like Marika, who's an Empyrean, and she has the ability to channel a god. The god of rot at her birth becomes channeled through her, and she meets the swordsman who basically sealed the rot away. He helps train her with the waterfowl technique and helps her suppress her inner rot. With that, she then, in the war with Radahn, ends up having to bloom for the first time to have her rot come out. That is how Caelid is born and becomes the Rot Center USA. Okay, interesting. If Madigan gets 5 subs, I'll put on the kitty ear. I will. I got my kitty ears right here. And if people want any 5 subs, I guess technically, what are we at right now? In 2 subs, I will put on these kitty ears. So for the low price of 2 subs, you can get your kitty fix on.
Times where she relapses into being the goddess of rot, she is known as the Blade of Mikola. She actually goes to great lengths to tell you this. I don't know if you heard.
Blade of
Despite being the toughest boss in From Software history, she's actually fighting for his right to godhood.
We're Char in my head. I don't want to get clawed up.
In Malenia's own words, her brother Mikola possesses the wisdom, the allure of a god.
Red already gifted 10. You know what? Good point, Flash. Red did already give 10. Might as well toss him on. Boop. You are so correct. Are they in frame? Let me... Boop, boop. There we go.
He is the most fearsome Empyrean of all. For his part, Mikola did a lot to earn his sister's dedication, not the least of which was inspiring her armor and a prosthetic of unalloyed gold. And it's not just his sister that loved Mikola, many people did. The Bewitching Branch is an item that you can use to turn enemies into temporary allies, and it reads, "Indeed, he has learned very well how to compel such affection." For his father Radagon, Mikola fashioned and gifted to him a fundamentalist incantation called Triple Rings of Light. Radagon then returns the favor, gifting back an incantation called Radagon's Rings of Light. These interactions show some of Mikola's positive connections with his father, and also...
Bro T-posing. Bro hitting the T-pose hard. Half an hour. Damn, Mystic. That's unfortunate.
Golden Order fundamentalism. And yet, the young Mikola abandoned fundamentalism, for it could do nothing to treat Malenia's accursed rot. This was the beginning of unalloyed gold. So, what is unalloyed gold? Well, an alloy is a composition of metals, so unalloyed gold is pure gold, essentially, with no external mixtures. This gold apparently can ward away the meddling of outer gods, and so Mikola bent a lot of his efforts towards creating an unalloyed gold needle. Specifically, this needle was crafted for his sister, to ward off the rot god and forestall the effects of the incurable rotting sickness. We see the bond between the siblings as well when we visit Mikola's Halig tree. We see a statue of a one-armed woman.
That metal will be very soft. Yeah, it wouldn't be very good for fighting with, I will say.
Woman embracing a child, Mikola. In this place, we see the biggest example of Mikola's benevolence, the Halig tree, and the society that was built into the brace that supports it. This was a promised land, seen as a salvation to many who were shunned or persecuted, provided that they can actually find the path here, of course. And like many other Empyreans, Mikola seems to have had the will within them to create a new order, and his is an order that's somewhat modeled on the ones that came before it. The biggest thing is that the Halig tree is clearly inspired by the Erd tree. But the difference is that Mikola's Halig tree is said to be accepting of all, even those the Erd tree shuns. Mikla himself was once embedded inside of the Halig tree, and he watered it with his very own blood since...
I'm sorry. He embedded himself in the tree and watered it with his own blood? Yo. Boy is creating a primordial tree with his own body. That's so cool. Oh, I didn't even notice. Look, you can see the outline of like a face and body, like that grew around the hole where he was. He needs to get a girlfriend? No, he's eternally youthful. That's bad.
Since it was a mere
Sure, Mystic.
sapling. Tragically, however, he was ripped out of this wound.
You don't do that with your plants?
Shattering, and his Halig...
I don't know. Say, my wife's the one that has the plants in the house, so I'm not sure if she waters them with her own blood. I should ask her next time I see her.
Halig tree ultimately failed to grow into an Erd tree, becoming a misshapen husk instead. But that's the story for another day. There's also a ton of cut content to do with Mikla, and he's one of the most mysterious demigods, who I'm sure we'll learn about more later. But there is one more thing that I want to mention before I go. It's kind of one theory I had during the making of this video. So, Mikla and Millennia each have their own butterflies. Millennia's is the Aeonian butterfly, which inhabit the swamp of Aeonia and are rumored to come from the wings of the rot goddess herself. And I think it's fair to say that Mikla's butterfly is the nascent butterfly, which appears as if it's just emerged from its cocoon for its entire life. This is a reference to Mikla's eternal youth and his cocoon in the Halig tree. But there is, of course, a third butterfly, right? There's the smoldering butterfly. It's said to be an eternally burning butterfly that serves as kindling. Now bear with me, but it's my theory that this butterfly is a reference to Melina, who the Blade of Calling calls the kindling maiden and the one who walks alongside flame. This might suggest that Melina is a sibling to Millennia and Mikla. Again, that's just a theory, but what I really want to talk about here is that, at the very least, Melina is almost certainly the daughter of Marika. We learned this a long time ago from looking at her name in the game's files, and we can further infer...
Its internal game file is Marika of Daughter. I thought there was going to be like a lore breakdown for why we knew that. But no, literally the game files say Marika of Daughter.
Infer it from her dialogue, as she has a few lines that refer to mothers and one that says that she was born inside the Erd tree. So her being the daughter of Marika is also just a theory, but this one is much more concrete than the butterfly one. Although the reason I like the butterfly theory is that it gives us a hint as to who Melina's parents might have been. Her parents would have been Radagon and Marika, which is to say Marika herself alone, I guess, because Radagon is Marika. Honestly, Melina as a character has only become more mysterious since the game was released, and I'm really only scratching the surface with this theory. But speaking of times before Elden Ring was released, back then, a long time ago, I commissioned this piece from a renowned artist named Marco, and now I'm so excited to reveal...
Once again, an absolute banger of a video. We'll do a quick summary to make sure I understand it. So, the first thing we learned was about Godwyn the Golden and how Godwyn basically just ran a train through the lands between. Bro decimated everyone in his path and ended up fighting the dragons with the tree sentinels and the draconic tree sentinels, using their own like scales against them. Then we learned about the horned, the omens, where they are people cursed at birth with the horns on their body, and they were seen originally as like, back before the Erd tree, they were seen as like beneficiaries of the old gods. But excuse me, I said what I said. Then in nowadays with the Erd tree, they're seen as heretical, and they have their horns chopped off like cactus fruit. That is why Morgott and Mohg were kind of exiled. Morgott ended up becoming like, you know, shadow in the background protecting the Erd tree, while Mohg kind of recessed himself into the sewers and got himself blood magic. Radahn learned how to control magic like gravity, so that his horse wouldn't have a hurt back because of how fat he was. And then he held the stars in the sky. We kill him to progress Ronnie's quest line because Ronnie is connected with the moon and stars. Ronnie is the daughter of Radon and Renala and is an Empyrean. She is a catfisher who isn't even using her real body's likeness. She stole her likeness from a teacher, and we don't know what she actually looks like because she's dead. Rykard wanted to devour the gods together and kind of like fed himself to a snake. Melania is an Empyrean who got the rot god channeled through her and basically learned from the swordsman who sealed the rot god originally to help her. Nicola is an eternally youthful god who is an Empyrean as well, but we don't know what's being channeled through him. And he helped Melania with gold. And I believe that's the lore here. Vati Vidya is amazing. I love Vati. All right, everyone, we're doing a quick break. If you need to get up, get a drink, get a snacky, now's the time. And we'll be back in like 2 minutes. So, if you're still in chat, make sure to spam those fucking emotes. I need to see some activity, people. And we'll be right back. Back, potty people. We're back. We roll back the rock to the dawn of chime and sing this song with me. As of right now, only about 40% of PC players can access the DLC. The journey to get them to access will be hard these next few days because up from the 36 it was a few days ago. I'm confused. What do you mean they can play? I thought the DLC wasn't out yet. Am I crazy? Are you crazy? Which one of us is crazy?
Where do you go?
Where do you go? All right. Is everyone back? Can I get some ones in chat if you're ready for the next episode? You got your snackies? You got your drinks? Because I am ready to rumble. Oh, so to back your braces? Well, let me see. Oh, yeah, those look hard to get on. Do they chafe at all, or are they well suited for you? Because it looks like they may chafe a bit. You have to kill Moog to access the DLC, remember? Oh, I see. I get what you mean. So a bunch of people just don't have the ability to do it. I see Mystic. I see Red Kai. I want some snackies, but I'm at work. Sag. That's a good... Do you not have like a vending machine at your job? Just sneak on over. All right, we're getting into the next one. Let me do a little YouTube intro. What is up, y'all? We are back with another Elden Ring lore review. I am continuing on my journey through Vati Vidya's lore series in preparation for the DLC, because I am a big empty dumbhead and I do not know the lore of the game. And today we're covering the lore of Elden Ring bosses. So let's get into it.
Where do you go after death?
I go to Pizza Hut. That's the first place I'm going after death.
What is the right way to die? Can death be overcome? And if it can, what are the consequences of such a thing? These questions are at the very heart of Elden Ring's story, and in order to answer them, I want to go over a set of bosses that are defined by their relationship to death, those being the Deathbirds, the Ancestral Spirits, the
Ancestral Spirits gotta be one of my least favorite bosses. I love how it looks, I love the music, I love how it attacks, but the fact that it just teleports away constantly in a giant arena where you can't use torrent makes me upset.
Tibia Mariners, the Godskins, the Burial Watchdogs, and the Black Knife Assassins. Understanding these bosses will teach you so much. In Elden Ring, one's self is separated into two distinct entities. There's the body, which is one's physical self or corporeal flesh, and then there's the spirit, which is essentially the soul that commonly persists after death. In the age of the Erd Tree, the bodies of the dead and their
that's
spirits
rough, Mystic.
are returned to the Erd Tree. This is done via a process called Erd Tree Burial, where great tree roots in catacomb dungeons absorb the dead so that they might be immortalized with the Erd Tree. But it was not always
fuel
this
for the
way.
parasite.
In fact, the entire culture of death had a different shape in the earlier days of the Lands Between. Back then, instead of Erd Tree Burial, death commonly burned in Ghost Flame. Ghost Flame, also known as Spirit Flame, is a cold, white flame that is created when bones are burned to ash.
Oh my god!
We learn this from the fallen hawks who prowl the underground rivers. When the last
Wait, whoa. There's a skull in the... Okay, wait a minute. That's so cool. They're talking about burning bone to make the flame, and there's literally a skull in this torch. God, the small details in this game are crazy.
We learn this from the fallen hawks who prowl the underground rivers. When the last embers of their torches were used up, they were forced to burn the bones of their fellows instead, and acquired the cold ghost flame. This process appears to help separate the spirit from the body, and while a lot of these spirits appear to be vengeful based on the ghost flame spells, I think in general having the body separated from the spirit in this way would have been a desired outcome. I speculate that we see proof of this even in the current age, where the wandering dead at Agheel Lake gaze at the sky, praying that the dragon Agheel might burn them to ash. Perhaps this was simply the acceptable way to put a tired body to rest. The keepers of Ghost Flame were the Deathbirds, who tended to the flame in their graveyards, raking out the ashen remains of the dead from their kilns. So I like to think of the Deathbirds as serving the old process of death, and delivering death by reducing bodies to ash so that spirits might be better able to move on. Now, admittedly, a lot of these spirits are vengeful, and that's how...
These asshole birds. There is something crazy you can do, though. Like, I've seen some people, challenge runners, that do no-hits. They will buff themselves up and kill them in one shot with the holy pot. Like, they throw one of those consumables that do holy damage, and with all the buffs they have, it'll just one-shot the birds because of how weak they are to holy.
Ghost Flame is sort of weaponized by the Deathbirds and sorcerers, but I do think that at its core, Ghostflame was important just because it separated the body and the spirit. After all, the explosive Ghostflame sorcery compares this process of death to the Erd Tree's process of death, which was pretty all-encompassing, so I think it's safe to assume that Ghostflame was just really important to the process of death, and it was more than just, vengeful spirits and a weapon to be used. And next we should talk about the Twin Bird, which was the mother of the Deathbirds. We don't find this creature in-game, but we can find its likeness painted vividly upon a kite shield that one of the Deathbirds drops. The design might remind you of a phoenix, which is traditionally drawn with bright colors and a crest of feathers and a longish neck. Of course, the phoenix is a creature that rises from the ash when it dies, which is obviously extremely fitting for this story. So the kite shield tells us that the Twin Bird, or this phoenix creature, is said to be the mother of the Deathbird.
Another outer god. Okay, how many fingers are in this pie? How many outer gods do we have? Can't the lands between just exist? Why are we like, every outer god's like, actually, I want a piece of that. Thank you. I want some. Thank you. It's like a little buffet for them. The reason I have Holy Imbue as a spell for my greatsword are mainly for these guys. Yeah, I can see it. Imagine wearing those braces all day in high school for hours on end. Mystic, I'm gonna be honest, I don't want to imagine that. That sounds really, really painful. All the fingers, all of them. How many fingers in the pie? That's clever. Was it clever? Oh no. Did I make a good joke and I don't even realize it? Oh no. I was just using an expression. I mean, yeah, it was good.
But not only that, it's also called the envoy of an outer god. So we can kind of compare the Twin Bird to the Two Fingers, then, who are also envoys to an outer god. They are envoys to the greater will, and similarly, I assume the Twin Bird probably communes with some outer god of death. And while we're definitely left wondering what greater purpose this outer god might have, the mere fact that it exists lends a lot of significance to the Twin Bird and its Deathbirds as well. A variation on the Deathbird is the Death Right Bird, which is an alternate boss, and it's a far more threatening foe, as it actually seems to use power.
I'm sorry, are those like spirits with weapons in its wings? That's metal.
That it's gained from certain spirits and Ghostflame. And if you look really closely at its ethereal wings, you might even spy little spirits lurking within. And when I saw these, I was really excited because I recognized the weapon they're using, and the weapon explains who they are. They're holding a little death ritual spear, and that item reads, "The priests became the guardians of the birds through the rite of death, which is a part of their contract for a far-off resurrection." So Deathbirds have a lot to do with
So they make a contract with the Deathbird to be its warriors to eventually be resurrected.
Sacrificial rites. They don't just attend to the ghost flame, they also deliver death, and they also perform rites of death. So we can assume that these priests were sacrificed in a rite of death so that they could lend a sort of spiritual strength to the Deathbirds. But we're still left wondering about the nature of their contract with the Deathbirds, which promises a far-off resurrection for them. What agreement did these priests come to with the Deathbirds? I wonder what has to happen for the contract to be fulfilled, and how will they?
Hey, you got any corn? My chicken axe is hungry. I've been killing people all day with it, but I don't want none. I want corn. You got like a fistful of corn I can feed my axe, please. It's hungry.
Even be resurrected. In terms of where the Deathbirds appear.
Y'all ever watch Chicken Run? Y'all ever watch that claymation Chicken Run movie? I fucking loved that as a kid. Chicken Run. Yeah, this. Y'all watch this growing up? This was pivotal for me. I watched this probably 20, 30 times. I had this on VHS. Isn't there a sequel coming out? There's a sequel coming out soon? There's a Netflix sequel to Chicken Run? That's so out of left field. I'm so confused. This movie came out when I was a child. They're making a sequel to it now? I watched it in school. Yeah, they did show it sometimes in school.
Yeah, they kind of appear everywhere, and I think that might be a hint that their influence was once present.
Same, Mystic, same.
And while their importance in the current age is likely quite diminished, they still definitely are relevant in the Lands Between. In fact, many other enemies actually make reference to them, and some even successfully channel their powers. Even Ghostflame lights the way in Catacomb dungeons to this day. But in general, there is a lot of power that can be gained from death in the Lands Between, which brings us to...
Okay, so I just want to point out this walk. You put on some like dope ass rock music. Okay, ready. Like that fits so well. It's so good.
Ancestral spirit. In the flourishing land...
Oh, that does kind of suck, Mystic. You're kind of stuck with them all day.
Which brings us to the ancestral spirit. In the flourishing landscapes underneath the Lands Between, you would have found the bodies of 3 large stags.
I watched Chicken Run so many times. Chicken Run sequel for Community Night? We should. Neo, okay, wait a minute, Neo. Hold me to this, because I probably won't remember. Remind me. Next Community Night, so this Thursday. By the way, we do have community nights on our Patreon where we watch movies. Last week we finished up Delicious in Dungeon, so I think this week, this Thursday, if you want to join into the Patreon, we're gonna watch Chicken Run, and we'll watch Chicken Run this week, and then when the sequel comes out, we'll watch it on a community night as well. That sounds like fun. That sounds like a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie. Comes out in December. Well, hey, we'll be prepped.
But in general, there is a lot of power that can be gained from death in the Lands Between, which brings us to the ancestral spirit. In the flourishing landscapes underneath the Lands Between, you would have found the bodies of 3 large stags enshrined by the ancestral followers.
I love these bosses.
Warriors, hunters, and shamans believe heavily in the principle that
bro got like the most kissable lips. I'm sorry.
These warriors...
Look, bro got the full-on like duck lips going. Bro's like look maxing.
Hunters and shamans believe heavily in the principle that life sprouts from birth, but also from death. I think this principle is sort of represented by horns, because in real life, horns continue to grow throughout the lifespans of animals, with their primary function usually being to convey a social hierarchy.
Oh my god, the zoom in. Oh god, the zoom in with the Voldemort nose. Oh no.
And here, the largest and most influential creature is a giant stag. And in the world of Elden Ring, since life continues after death, it makes sense then that this creature's antlers continue to bud and grow even after its death. We learn this from defeating the regal ancestor spirit and looking at the horn of this fallen king. New growths bud, glowing with light. Thus does new life grow from death, and from death one obtains power. Long-lived beasts like this are worshipped by the ancestral followers, a race of
beings
a
little dance,
who keep their distance from
make
the
a little
tree
love,
and are just content to await new buds and new growth.
Look at the babies. Oh, look how many small bones for arrows we can get from these guys. At least like 2 per kill. Aw.
If a being does not show signs of budding horns or new growth, then they are sacrificed with an axe called the Winged Greathorn. Interestingly, the twin blades of this sacrificial axe are called Envoy's Wings, which might be a reference to the twin bird we mentioned earlier, which was also a winged envoy. According to the Horn Charm talismans, the ancestral spirits specifically arise from long-lived beasts, and I think this touches on another commonly repeated theme in Elden Ring, which is that there are benefits to living life to its fullest potential. To quote some more Deathbird items, the most glorious end awaits those who cling tenaciously to life, and it is important to render up a death worth offering. Those who lived a heroic life were even...
Interesting. So your death is a currency, and the more deeds you do in your life, the more currency your soul is worth. I mean, that even makes sense, because you get like the soul of a renowned hero, or so, like Interesting.
Able to go on and see a unique version
I've
of
not
grace
missed it. Is it worth
in
watching?
the afterlife. We currently think that this grace is red, and that these are the same red rays of grace that you might have noticed when
Your
you first
life is the
explored
currency?
the Forbidden
It's so
Lands.
cool.
So this might be the most intriguing part of the video. Let me explain.
I'm ready.
Past the
Hey,
forbidden-
Vati, I am locked in. You have my attention. You telling me, you saying this is the most interesting part of the video? I'm ready.
So this might be the most intriguing part
I'm ready.
of the video. Let me explain. Past the Forbidden Lands and deep within the consecrated snowfields is a Tibia Mariner, and this one drops Helfen's Steeple, a great sword that reveals just a mind-blowing amount of lore for one item. First, it reads, Greatsword patterned after the black steeple of the Helfen, the lampwood which guides the dead of the spirit world. So the word steeple is commonly used to describe the tall spire found on churches, and indeed the design of Helfen's steeple echoes that of the Morian blade from Dark Souls, which also referenced the spire of a church. However, while I think Helfen is likely to be a sort of church, I don't think it's a building. Instead, this item seems to be describing the shape of a black tree in the spirit world, a so-called lampwood.
And we got more trees. How many times I gotta teach you this lesson, old man? Why we got now we got dead tree. We got dead tree in a different dead world. Why we got so many trees? I'm a fan of the concept that your soul, and by extension you, are made up of personal experience. The more you experience, the stronger your soul is, and it opens up the possibility for artificial constructs to develop their own soul over time. Chris, here, you need some of this. I'll pass it over to you. Wow, that's actually a really cool thought experiment. I kind of love that, Chris.
Or lamplight tree that serves as a guidepost for the heroic dead. The item goes on to say that lamplight is similar to grace in appearance, and it is said that it can only be seen by heroic spirits or those who met their death in battle. So the black tree of Helfen is almost like this dark mirror of the Erd tree, but in the spirit world. It's so interesting that it even gives off its own guidance of grace, and there's a few reasons we speculate that this grace might be red.
What's wrong with trees? The trees, what's wrong with what's wrong with the trees is you ever climb a tree and then you scrape your knee a bit when you're trying to get onto a tree branch, and then you're like, but you still keep climbing the tree anyway, and then you like slip a bit and your palm gets scraped a bit, but you keep climbing the tree. That's what I have. That's the problem I have with trees. And so therefore, burn all the trees. My brother once said, what happens if we give you weed? And I went, probably turn normal. My friend is kind of going through that right now. He's a weed smoker pretty heavily. And he stopped for a bit because he's prepping for a trip. And bro's ADHD went from like 1 to 1,000. So I feel so bad for him because like he was using the weed to manage his ADHD a bit. And now that he's been off of it for a couple days, his brain's just like, zzz. So the weed did make him normal. But you climbed trees with your wife? I did. It was very cute. Amanda and I were actually just talking about that the other day. Well, I mean, we were talking about me bringing it up on stream, so I don't know if it's really organic, but we were having like a nice chat about it. It was so cute. Back when we were kids, we would climb trees and just hang out for a few hours up there talking.
First, a red gem can be found at the very tip of Helfen's steeple, and a gem on the rolled medallion as well. Plus there's a red glow visible from the sword's gem, and a red glow from the rolled medallion when you hold it up at the Grand Lift, where it takes you to the Forbidden Lands, where we speculate that you can briefly glimpse this lamplight, or red grace, filtering between the trees. So you might be asking, why can we see the grace when we're not dead? But technically tarnished are defined as the dead who yet live, so it might make some sense that we can see it. The next question is, where does the lamplight lead? And I think there's two options. One is that the lamplight might lead back to Helfen itself. That is the source of the light after all, and Helfen's steeple can be enwreathed in ghost flames, so maybe the dead are sort of put to rest here. Alternatively, though, I guess it's also possible that the Lamplight has plans for the heroic dead, just like Grace has plans for the Tarnished. It might lead them somewhere else as well. We just don't know. In my discussions with Quelaag, who helped with these theories, she pointed out the similarities that Helfen has with Valhalla of Nordic folklore. If you don't know, Valhalla is a place where brave spirits would be invited to dine with the gods. And it seems that Helfen is inspired by that same sort of folklore, since only heroic spirits can see the light. Not to mention, Hel, with one L, is actually the name of the world of the dead in Nordic folklore. And
well, hey, that's a pretty compelling argument, I'm not gonna lie.
Speaking of folklore, this finally brings us back to the Tibia Mariner, the boss that dropped Helfen's steeple in the first place. The Tibia Mariners themselves actually have no written lore to speak of, which is kind of a shame. But what they do have is an incredible visual design, and it kind of carries them from a lore perspective, because this visual design is steeped very heavily in appropriate folklore. So, in Greek mythology, there is a stretch of water called the River Styx, which marks the boundary between Earth...
Yeah, but you better not stick yourself in the river.
and the underworld.
I'll be here.
And to help
for like 2 more
souls of the
hours.
deceased cross this river, you have to find the river boatman and pay him to safely take you across. Just so, I kind of imagine the dead in Elden Ring are being drawn to the Tibia Mariner in a similar fashion. You know, he has a purple lantern and a loud horn, and he might offer a similar sort of guidance to the underworld. There is one spell that references this boss briefly. It's Tibia's Summons, and it says, "For time immemorial, the dead have been those who are lost and require guidance and leadership." Suffice to say, death was a very important facet of life in the Lands Between, even for the gods at one point. Which brings us to the Godskins, an order of apostles that were born to deliver destined deaths to the gods long ago. I
gotta say, looking at the faces on them, right? I think out of all the faces, this one I feel the most. He's kind of just like, why am I here? I don't want to be a part of this flesh golem. This sucks. Why am I stuck here? He even has like a mouth. He probably complains. I imagine this is the one, because this one's mouth is gone. This one's just like, why am I on this guy's chest? I hate it.
Stop it. Stop talking to me. I'm wearing you as clothing.
But I don't want you to. Can't you just, like, I don't know, like, put me on somewhere else? Like, drape me over your chair or something. I don't like it. If you stick yourself in the river, you'll die. Well, hey, unless you're Achilles, who was bathed fully in the river Styx, except for the one spot where his mother held him on his ankle, and that is why he was invincible, except for on his whole body, except for his Achilles heel. I thought that was a fat version of Ramu for a second.
Long ago. I kind of like to think of them as a counterbalancing force to the influence of gods, wielding sharp tools for boring and slicing through flesh, and incanting spells that mocked the wrath of the gods. It seems these godskins actually succeeded in hunting many gods, if their name is to be believed. Their robes were made by sewing together patches of smooth skin, and the nobles' robes include subcutaneous fat, which makes them plump and soft. Known for their 7-faced aprons, these nobles are the most ancient apostles, and they're deeply inhuman. Their weapon is not a slicer, but a stitcher, and they wield it with a skill that is unmatched by any lowborn. These beings were elevated to a social class above the lowborn because they served a queen.
Bro got a long-ass neck. Bro's neck is like, god damn, it goes on forever. Just because, like, even remove the collar here, bro's neck is like almost 3 times the size of his head.
A Glowmite queen.
Bro plays an Elden.
The they wield are actually channeled from that queen's greatsword, and it was this queen who raised them from birth in the first place, cradling her newborn apostles in godskin cloth, so that they might grow to become the death of the gods. This Glowmite queen was powerful, but what makes her character so important is that she was also an Imperial.
As they should. Oh, sorry, a max height Elden Flash.
Chosen by the fingers. Now, remember, an Empyrean is a candidate chosen by the 2 fingers to become a god, So, despite being such a dark character, the Glowmite Queen was still a valid choice for godhood. And all of this, of course, was before the Rune of Death had been removed from the Elden Ring, and it was from this Rune of Death that the Black Flame originally got its power. We only know of one other Empyrean alive at this time, and that would have been Queen Marika. Naturally, at some point, Marika and the Glowmite Queen clashed. Though, according to the Godslayer Greatsword description, we know that the Glowmite Queen was defeated by Malekith, who was the shadow of Queen Marika. He
defeated by the one creature that has the ability to kill.
Is credited with defeating the Glowmite Queen and the Apostles, and sealing off the Rune of Death, which again was the source of their power. What's not clear to me about all of this, though, is whether Marika and the Glowmite Queen were rival Empyreans competing for godhood, or if Marika was already a god and decided to take out the Glowmite Queen because the Glowmite Queen was an Empyrean threat to her age. But at any rate, it seems like Marika and the Glowmite Queen are opposites. You know, the Glowmite Queen ends ages, but Marika wished for an age eternal, so it makes sense that they'd clash, but there's still so much we don't know about them. But after all of this, Marika's Age of the Erd Tree began, and during this age, you were supposed to wait for the roots of the Erd Tree to call to you, so that your spirit could return to the Erd Tree after death to be immortalized with it. Specifically,
or, you know, what it really is, which is consumed by the parasitic entity in the Erd Tree.
These roots were found in catacomb dungeons, and there's even a statue found across the Lands Between that was designed to help people find these catacomb dungeons. This is the statue of
Oh my god. The gameplay mixed with the lore is so cool, because these statues literally guide you to hidden dungeons in the catacombs, but they're there to guide people to like become one with the Erd Tree and the Erd Tree burial. So the mechanic of guiding you to a hidden dungeon is a lore mechanic, and god damn, From Software is amazing.
The Usher of Death, and he shows the dead the path towards catacomb dungeons. The catacombs themselves were built in the Age of the Erd Tree. This is proven by root resin, which states that the roots here were once linked to the Erd Tree, and it was for this reason that catacombs were constructed around these great tree roots. So at this point in history, Queen Marika had implemented her new concept for death in the Lands Between, and in her eyes, a proper death meant returning to the Erd Tree. Thus, in the days where catacomb roots were connected to the Erd Tree, these catacombs were valid sites of Erd Tree burial, and I think we literally see this taking place, as corpses can be seen being absorbed by the roots at the end of every catacomb dungeon. The process of Erd Tree burial, though, is described as an honor reserved for heroes, and this process of Erd Tree burial is presided over by Erd Tree burial watchdogs, who
no one makes them like FromSoft. It's true. It's true. I don't want it to be true because I want other people to make games like them, but it is so true. No one makes them like FromSoft.
Protect the catacombs with their impish servants. These creatures are golems, and I think that they might have been created specifically during the period of history where Liurnia had an allegiance with Leyndell, since they serve the process of Erd Tree burial, but their weapons actually have glintstone embedded in them. Furthermore, when hit by impure crystal darts, they malfunction, which I think is further proof of their glintstone origins. In some catacombs and graveyards, the physical bodies of the dead have begun to rise. Now, these beings are defined as those who live in death, and they are a relatively recent phenomenon in the Lands Between. Instead of having their body...
Chat, it's you. It's you, shambling around. This is you at 3 a.m. going to get a snack from the fridge.
And spirit return to the Erd Tree, they rise, in an act that is completely at odds with Marika's concept of death, Erd Tree burial, and the Golden Order. I'll go into more detail on this later when we talk about God burial and...
Look at the one on the right, the one on the right. Bro resurrects from the dead and immediately dodge rolls. Look at him, look at him.
I'll go into more detail on this.
Roll time! They never expect the stand-up roll attack. Yeah! Me and the boys at 3 a.m. looking for beans. Bro, I have a plush of that, Chris. I have a plush of a little shadow man holding a can of beans. If it's me, where's my greatsword?
This later when we talk about Godwin, but basically this all began when Rani stole a fragment of the Rune of Death from Malekith, and then she imparted its power onto the knives of the Black Knife Assassins. You can tell the Assassins have quite a lot of secrets in their lore. We do know a few things though. We know that they're all women, they're all Newman, and they have links to Queen Marika.
Okay. If we remember, Newman is the race from outside of the lands between that Marika is of. So they are of the same race of people as Marika.
And the Eternal City as well.
I haven't missed a single one of your references. Yeah, I'm flabbergasted.
It's because I live in your brain, Chris. It's all an illusion. You're not watching a streamer. You're sitting at a blank computer screen. I'm a reflection of you, a part of you, trying to reach through the abyss to let you know it is time to wake up.
We'll have to go into more detail on them later though. But with their knives imbued with the Rune of Death, they...
Or I'm just old.
...carved a curse mark into two demigods, Rani and Godwin. The curse mark itself is an obtainable item, and it reads, "This curse mark was carved at the moment of death of the first demigod, and should have taken the shape of a circle. However, two demigods perished at the same time, breaking the curse mark into two half-wheels. Rani was the first of the demigods whose flesh perished, while the Prince of Death perished in soul alone."
Wait a minute. So that's why Rani's a puppet. Her body died, but her soul didn't leave. Therefore, she inhabited the puppet. And that's why she's trying to progress with, the stars moving and... Okay. But then Godwin, their soul died. So they are no longer in existence, but their bodies still exist in the world. That's wild. A death of the body and a death of the soul.
So interestingly, these assassins and the knives imbued with the Rune of Death had the power to cleave life from the physical body and from the spirit as well. Specifically, Rani was the one whose flesh perished, and she became a disembodied spirit, free from her corporeal flesh, which is what she wanted, and she now occupies a doll. But Godwin became the Prince of Death, living without a soul and spreading the Rune of Death across the lands between through Deathroot. Now, according to item description...
Oh! He's the reason Deathroot exists! And its roots, like from a tree! It all comes back to the roots!
Deathroot is the Rune of Death itself, and it acts as a source that gives rise to those who live in death. Now, what I find really interesting is the fact that this Rune of Death that is embodied by Deathroot and those who live in death, it clearly has aspects of both death.
And that's why you give the Deathroot to Malekith. Because Malekith, the beast clergyman, he wants the Deathroot back because they're pieces of the Rune of Death, which he has. That's why he eats them. That's why you get them for him, because he's bringing back in this death rune that's been set onto the world. So cool.
And life as well, which makes sense based on what you should have learned from this episode, right? Because death isn't just the end, it's life as well. So it makes sense that those who live in death would have aspects of death and life, all contained in these beings that were brought to life, in a sense, by the Rune of Death.
Death dog.
And while those who live in death are a bit unnatural because they do come from this fragmented Rune of Death.
He gives me throw boulder at people, so he's cool. The beast incantations are so fucking badass. Like the claw you do, just rake up the claw on the ground. I remember back when the beta for Elden Ring first dropped, people were given access to the beast incantation where you could like do a claw on the ground, and it was so broken they nerfed it when the game came out.
This half of a curse mark, they still have life in death, and so you can argue that they still have a right to life. And in fact, that's entirely what one of the endings is about, at least how I understand it, and I'll try to explore it more thoroughly later on. These beings are persecuted and hunted down by fundamentalists of the Golden Order, And whether these fundamentalists are truly serving the fundamentals of order in the first place is just a topic that is very interesting to explore. So, in conclusion, maybe it shouldn't be a sin to live in death. After all, to quote Fear, in death there is only peace, for in death there can be no sensation. Thank you for watching. Special thanks to Quailag for looking over this script. She has an awesome channel.
Another
go and
God.
check out, and it's been
I
great
could
to have
listen to
someone
Vati video all day. This man's voice is like smooth butter on a summer day. Oh my word. So in summary, I think we've got a pretty good idea of, so the Deathbirds are part of an older religion created around a concept of death, where burning the bones could be used to return the souls. Then there's the ancestral spirits, which is another form of death, where it basically, in death, there is growth. It's like the cyclical circle of life. Then there's the Tibia Mariners, who are kind of lend more credence to the Deathbird theory, where it's like the ghostly flame leading to a different world. There's the Godskins, which are like children of a different Empyrean who crafted their robes out of the flesh of gods so they might one day kill them, who Mariko went to war and beat the other Empyrean. There is the Erdtree Watchdogs that are basically part of the Erdtree burial, and they were helped in creation by the Raya Lucaria School of Magic. So with Raya Lucaria and the Erdtree together, they created a place where people would go for an Erdtree burial, where their soul and their body would be sent back to the Erdtree as nourishment for the parasite. And then there were the Black Knife Assassins, who, with the Rune of Death Ronnie stole, killed Godwyn in his soul with his body left over, and killed Ronnie in her body, leaving her soul left in the puppet. And from the dead body of Godwyn, Deathroot was created. Oh, man, oh man. Like, the lore is really complex, but in a way that makes me want to devour it. We can devour the lore together. I like the Boulder in PvP. They see man with great sword and think fast, big rock. Trav, how you doing, bud? How are you doing today, Trav? Welcome into stream. We are watching Elden Ring lore. Enjoy. Watch lore with us. All right, we're going to the next one. Once more, YouTube intro. Hey y'all, welcome back to the lore deep dive I'm doing through Vati Vidya's Elden Ring lore series, prepping for Elden Ring's DLC to release. As the lore virgin myself, I am trying my best to learn the lore as I go along. Today we are covering the lore of Elden Ring's bosses that serve the Golden Order. Make sure to always give a like to a video you watch because it helps support the creator. Yay! Yay! Trees are good for the environment. You're good for the environment, Mystic. You're good for the environment. Take that. Oh, sorry. I didn't ask. Everyone have their snackies. Everyone got their drinkies. Everyone ready? Ones in chat if you're ready to watch. I need some ones so I can hit the play button. I need to know people are here. I don't want to start the video without you. That'd be sad. And it's okay to feel sad. Mystic is here. That's my boy. My boy, Mystic. Love you. Oh. Man, watching lore videos is hard. Oh, I'm so tired. Hit that Erdtree stretch. Do the... Wait, what was it? So it's bent arm, straight down. Erdtree stretch. Spicy popcorn. Ooh. Got some popcorn for yourself. I mean, I am kind of jealous. Kettle corn is the most goated popcorn, though. Ain't no better popcorn than kettle corn, I'll tell you that. Right now.
Many of Elden Ring's bosses serve Marika's Golden Order in some shape or form, whether they're loyal to it or enslaved by it. So let's discuss all of these bosses. starting at a time before order had even come to the lands between.
The fire
to
giants.
The north are mountaintops of the giants, a name.
I think this is the first time the giants have really been addressed besides just saying, and then a war was fought with them. Because the giants are pretty important considering their flame is what burns the Erd Tree. So if I had to guess, a war was started against the giants because of the capability they had to end the Erd Tree. That's what I'm guessing.
That makes it abundantly clear just who dominated this region of the world. However, it was not always this way. According to the Borealis' mist incantation, the ice dragons were once lords of the mountaintops long ago, until they were defeated by the fire giants and chased from the peak. And perched upon this peak stands an enormous forge. Interestingly, the chain rings of this forge depict dragons, which might be a reference to the dragons that once dwelt here. And while I don't think we can say for sure who built this forge, the art of smithing is said to have originated among the giants, and the craft was even once considered divine. So it seems likely that at the very least, they made good use of this fire.
I mean, I can see smithing being seen as divine because it's like, it's creating something from fire, you know? Something about hitting out a big bar of metal into a sword with fire as your tool does feel kind of divine.
Sparks from this forge would fall down and fertilize the smoldering flowers that bloomed upon the mountaintops, and it seems like it was a pretty crucial part of life in this region. The most ancient giants here were called fire giants, and according to the Burn O' Flame incantation, they have long held a solitary curse to serve as keepers of the flame for eternity. Now, traditionally in From Software games, curses are the domain of the gods, and indeed, the fire giants are cited to have borrowed power from one such god, who is represented here by a single large red eye.
To reference in the Sharingan, hope you know that I'm still saving my shiny so I can make you play a horror game.
I'm looking forward to it, Trav.
Hey, you know, if you're subbed, you get 1.25 points.
Use your prime.
This god is called a god of the flame, and it's believed to be able to inhabit fire itself, as well as the bodies of the fire giants who worship.
So, a lot of the gods are only able to embody Empyreans. Does that mean that the fire giants are also Empyreans? Because it seems like they're able to embody a god.
Worshipped it. The giants shared borders with the astrologers, who, according to their legendary Sword of Night and Flame, established themselves in the mountaintops and considered the fire giants their neighbors. The relationship here is implied to be friendly, even collaborative, maybe, as the sword does combine the power of both flame and the power of the primeval current that's glimpsed within the night sky. The sword would go on to become a treasure of the Carrion royal family, and the Carrions themselves are likely descendants of the astrologers. Generations later, these Carrion royals would call upon their old giant allies for aid, but we'll get to that in a moment. The fire giants also had another neighbor, with whom relations were not so amicable. Further down the mountains, just past the Forbidden Lands, roamed the Knights of Zamor. According to their armor, these long-lived warriors, clad in biting, freezing winds, are said to have been the mortal enemies of the fire giants since time immemorial.
I'm just imagining these little dudes with ice magic just fighting tooth and nail against giants. Like, the giant's like,
Hey, stop hitting me. It's kinda cold.
They're down there like, swinging desperately. Gonna head to bed. It's nearly 6 a.m. Have a good rest of the stream. Chris, go to bed. I appreciate you hanging out, though, bud. It's always good to see you. But yeah, seriously, go to bed, Chris. Everyone say goodnight to Chris, or I guess good morning to Chris. EP time.
According to their weaponry, these beings were devoted to winter itself and had weapons styled after icy winds. And
do you think that maybe they're disciples or something similar to the frost dragons? Because if the frost dragons were like kicked out by the fire giants, it would kind of make sense that warriors of ice would return to fight them. The blades even kind of look like dragon fangs a bit.
And bodies that were cloaked in swirling ice storms.
And they got scales,
it makes good
too.
sense that such cold beings would be natural mortal enemies of the fire giants, and they commonly did challenge their larger rivals. But it seems like their true chance came when Queen Marika waged war against the fire giants, and the Knights of Zamor gladly joined her offensive. They earned great renown amongst the Order of the Erd Tree, and many ancient heroes of Zamor became hailed as heroes, as the fire giants were largely wiped from the face of the earth after this war. Now, up until now, I've resisted calling the giants evil, but the reality is that in pretty much every item description, their god is described as a fell god. And
okay, but the question is, are the items a reliable narrator, or are they being called that because the Golden Order doesn't like them? That's a question. Are the item descriptions biased against the fire giants?
And the giant's flame is a flame of ruin. And to be fair, their god doesn't seem like a super nice guy. I mean, it only really opens its eye when the fire giant boss sacrifices a leg, which is pretty metal. But I'm sort of giving them the benefit of the doubt because I think it's pretty clear who's writing the history about this fell god here. The many mentions of this god as evil clearly come about because fire itself was just this extremely taboo topic during Marika's age.
Okay, Vati and I on the same wavelength here. Well, did I say so in here? Dragons? You did, Mystic.
Of the Erd Tree, and it's not just Giant's Flame items that mention this. Fire in general was prohibited to those who served the Erd Tree, which was a pretty smart defensive measure, especially considering that many rival outer gods also have a flame of their own.
Yeah,
The
like a
Formless
frenzy
Mother
flame.
has Blood Flame, the Three Fingers have Frenzied Flame, the outer god of death has Ghost Flame, but Giant's Flame in particular was capable of burning the Erd Tree, and that is a fact that clearly inspired the inevitable war with the giants.
Okay. Okay, I kind of called that. At the start of the video, I was like, I think the war comes about because the giant's fire can burn the Erd Tree.
Giants were deemed mortal enemies of the Erd Tree, and they allegedly desolated nature, triggered avalanches, and whipped up storms of flame with their roars. Clearly, those who served the Erd Tree were afraid, and perhaps rightfully so. And so, led by Lord Godfrey, the forces of the Erd Tree went to war. The fire giants borrowed from the power of the fell god to fight against the Erd Tree, but were defeated nonetheless. According to the Burn O' Flame incantation, this released the fire giants from their curse to serve as keepers of the flame, all except one, who the fell god still hides within. And upon realizing that the giant's flame would never die, Marika left this last giant alive, knowing it was bound to protect the flame for all eternity, and thus leaving it cursed to protect the flame from someone like us. In addition to the...
So she realizes she can't get rid of the flame, so she enslaves the last giant to be its protector. Because the last giant needs to protect the forge. It can't attack the Erd Tree because it can't leave the forge. So she effectively destroyed the possibility of the giants fighting back while using them to guard the flame from others who may steal it. Marika.
The Knights of Zamor, many lesser giants, were also roped into the war against the fire giants.
You roped me into this!
These lesser giants are called trolls, and are confirmed to be a race that is descended from the giants. This relationship is clearer at the mountaintops, where the trolls here still cast Giant's Flame incantations. Troll hammers were even once used as...
Wait a minute.
Is
They have hollows in their chest. Look at this. Because I've always seen they have like hollowed out chests. But if they're descended from the giants, and the giants have their god in their chests, like the mouth and the eye, what if they're like this because the god was distracted. Not distracted, extracted.
Confirmed to be a race that is descended from the giants. This relationship
dragon
is
I'm gonna
clearer
watch
at the mountaintops.
Well, there's
where
actually a
the
couple
trolls
Mystic, there's a couple videos on my YouTube right now. If you want to watch the older streams, it's Keo, Flash, and I playing this game.
From the giants. This relationship is clearer at the mountaintops, where the trolls here still cast giant's flame incantations. Troll hammers were even once used as ancient ceremonial smithing tools. Thus, it seems evident that the trolls and the fire giants coexisted for a time, and then fell further and further apart. Because while some trolls are assumedly still fire giants at heart, many now are not. In fact, at the heart of most trolls is nothing. There's this suspicious hollow here.
Is that a gravestone in its chest? I have never looked this deep at this. That looks like a gravestone in there.
Almost as if something has been ripped out of their torso. And when you consider what's upon the torso of the last remaining fire
Fontividia and I are on the same wavelength.
Giant, the truth becomes pretty clear, right? Every single troll is now missing that giant eye of their outer god. And if you manage to look really closely here at a troll, we realize that in its place is this strange stone tablet that is held in place by what look like roots. As pointed out by Quelaag, these rooted tablets are very reminiscent of the rooted shackles that were created to bind the Omen twins, Moog and Morgoth, which might suggest that the trolls are also being shackled or suppressed by Marika in some way. This is just speculation, of course, but Marika does have this suspicious set of stone tablets.
It's just speculation, but there is a room that is just chock-a-block with tablets. There's just a room just filled to the brim, bursting at the seams. She ordered too many on Amazon, and they're just stacking along the sides. She's just trying anything she can do to get rid of them, just putting them wherever she wants. You should do a live stream of the lore as well. I mean, all of my lore knowledge would just be like saying what Vati's saying, but worse.
Tablets in her chambers, and I think it's a good theory for sure. A sword gravestone in the mountaintops elaborates further on the troll's role in the War of the Giants. Here, champions battled, and allegedly, the trolls betrayed. But what was the nature of this betrayal?
Is it a betrayal, or did Marika carve out their god and put a rune in them to control them, and then use the trolls against the giants?
Did these lesser giants resent their larger kin, or did Marika force this betrayal in some way with the stone shackles? I think that's largely up to you guys. But whatever the case,
I'm believing this
nowadays
shackle
the
theory.
trolls are said to have lost their minds and are inseparable from the weight of their rusty swords, which have long since lost any trace of gold. So whether they carry coffins or mine down at the bedrock of the earth, their sad state brings to mind enslavement now, more than anything else.
Boo.
That said, some trolls
We hate
do
enslavement.
seem to have a little bit more dignity, and these are the ones that fought against the Erd Tree later on. These were the enchanted troll knights.
The troll greatsword is trash, and it makes sense why. Yeah, because it's just like a rusty, shitty golden sword.
Deemed comrades of the young Renala.
Oh, hey.
And they were called
Look
into
at you got a helmet.
service when the queen invoked an oath that they swore long ago. As mentioned earlier, the trolls go way back to when the fire giants and the astrologers were still neighbors. And back then, it seems, for whatever...
Yo, bro's got the ashiest elbow. Bro needs some lotion stat. Bro needs medical grade lotion stat. Look at that elbow. Bro's flaking.
For a reason, they swore an oath to the astrologers. And later, when the Carrions went to war against the Erd Tree, I assume, the trolls were finally called into that service to be treated as true knights of Caria, wielding swords embedded with blue glintstone and summoning enormous glint blades. They fought arm in arm with their long-lost human comrades. Iji is another such example of that relationship, by the way. He became the Carrion family's royal blacksmith, and unlike the Stone Digger trolls, he actually uses that weapon for its intended purpose as a blacksmith's
I love
hammer,
EG.
and now he serves the Lady
He's such-
Rani,
he's such a good
who
guy.
he's known ever since her childhood. Next, I want to talk about the Knights Cavalry. These recurring bosses wander the dim roads at night, and were once...
Why is Morgoth there? Why is Morgoth there?
...led by the Fell Omen. Now, this description specifically references Margit's title as the Fell Omen, not Morgoth's title as the Omen King, and I think this is important because Margit represents this undercover extension of Morgoth, who scouts further out in the world and takes out champions who approach all the way from Stormvale Castle. Morgoth's big role in the story is that he's a stout defender of the Erd Tree who wouldn't dare
Thor's
betray
messed up?
the Golden
Oh,
Order.
yeah!
He
It's pretty
calls all
intense,
the
I'm
other
not gonna lie.
demigods willful traitors all, simply for fighting over the great runes of the Elden Ring. Even Radahn, who has a lot of signs of being quite loyal to the Golden Order, is called a traitor, simply because he fights at one stage another character who has a great rune. You can even see Morgoth in one of these opening cutscene cinematics leaping onto what looks like Radahn and managing to even get an attack off on one of the mightiest of the demigods. Actually, a channel named Smotown has a really good little video discussing
Take you to
whether this
Smotown.
is indeed Radahn, and I'd highly recommend you go and check that out. Anyway, my point is, the Knights Cavalry seem to fulfill a similar role to Margit. According to their armor, they were deliverers of death for great warriors, knights, and champions. Simple as that. No motive is listed, except that they have a reputation for taking out the greatest warriors of the world.
It makes sense because Margit wants the Golden Order to remain the way it is, and the threats to the Golden Order would be champions rising up against America. So utilizing the Knights Cavalry to just brutally take out champions and heroes, it makes sense for his motivation, because he doesn't want, a foul tarnished to, take on the mantle of Elden Lord.
And that makes sense that that would be their aim, because
Is that a horse?
only the
A horse?
strongest can acquire 2 great runes and approach the Erd Tree, so it's almost as if strength itself must be stifled so that Morgoth's failing order might be maintained. As for why Margit
Those are your guys that give you your
defends Stormvale,
thrust.
I like to think that he's fighting here because he recognizes that Godric is the weakest of the demigods, who yet remains, so he's bolstering his strength in that sense and trying to maintain this unsteady stalemate.
I command thee,
Having
kneel.
a strong defense is essentially the guiding
Oh
principle
god, the
of
tree sentinels. Okay. One of my claims to being a good gamer before my hand stopped working, I did beat the tree sentinel as a defiled, whatever the class is that starts with a club and no clothing. I did beat the tree sentinel with that without leveling up. That was one of my claims to being at least a decent gamer before, my hands went to shit.
those who serve the Erd Tree, especially as you get closer to the capital. There are numerous examples of this. The soldiers of Leyndell fight their battles defensively. The knights of
No clips
Leyndell
exist, so it didn't
always
happen.
put
You know what?
their
Shit, fair
shield
enough.
before the sword. And Leyndell itself, the city, is built to withstand siege, with layers and layers of defensive measures built in. And the protective standard to which all defenders of the Erd Tree aspire is that of the Tree Sentinels, whose order became the living rampart of the Erd Tree, embellished with golden tree-crested armor and shields that can retaliate with bolts of light. They turn defense into offense, and that's the idea in Leyndell. Defense is the best offense, and the way this idea is presented is just such beautiful storytelling. So many characters in other areas of the lands between long to return to the blessed land of the Erd Tree, and even for you it's this goal that looms over you the entire game. So the path is designed to repel everyone getting close. You know, the highway through Leonia has fallen apart, so you need to take this secret, waterlogged route up through the mountain. This was my favorite part of the game, by the way, finding this secret path through the mountains. And
Well, isn't the Dectus medallion what you use here? You don't have to go through it, right? Unless I'm crazy. Do I miss playing the game? I do, but I am playing it with Flash and Keo right now, so I am able to play it now, which is nice. I do wish I could just do my own playthrough and kind of not have to rely on, you know, a seamless co-op, but the fact I can do a seamless co-op and with my friends is badass. You can through both ways. Okay. So it's not necessary you go through here.
Infiltrating the Altus Plateau, and then when you finally get there, there are countless ballista and golem archers, and they're all positioned facing outwards, and finally you even find a side entrance to Lanedell, and that is even guarded by a tree sentinel. And it's not just any tree sentinel, this one is actually a draconic tree sentinel, which is kind of different. This variant of sentinels arose after the ancient dragons attacked Lanedell in its history, and we talk more about this event in the video about the demigods, but in the end, the ancient dragons were befriended.
Oh, that guy's lightning?
Worship
He
of
was
the ancient
mean.
dragons
We did
was
die a
deemed
couple times
acceptable,
on him.
alongside belief in the Erd Tree. Dragons were conjoined with the Golden Order, so to speak, and the dragon cultists took after them in a physical fashion. Also instrumental to the rise of the Erd Tree were the Crucible Knights. They were eventually scorned for their strength, for their appearance, and for their close resemblance to Chaos, and how that inspired who they originally were. 16 of these knights served Godfrey, the first Elden Lord, and all 16 of them yet remain across the lands between. One is imprisoned in an Everjail, 2 appear to be dead and are summoned to fight you as spirits. A number of Crucible Knights still patrol Lanedell, some protect great tree roots, though most just stand dejected in lost corners of the earth.
Is that... I'm pretty sure that that's the night where Flash Q and I were fighting it, and it jumped in the air, sprouted wings, and flew off the edge to its death. My guy's wearing a full set of Crucible Knights, not the one that Keo is using, the other variant. How do you get the other variant? Is it just like a drop from them, or...?
And one of them has even found a new blasphemous master. So the next time you fight these, think carefully about where they are and who they're fighting with, because each knight is a distinct character with purpose, or lack thereof, even though they were all once united by a common purpose and a single lord. Many of these knights fight with different aspects of the Crucible. Some fight with wings, some with horns, fire, and tail, but what they all have in common is their mastery of their Lord Godfrey's signature stomp attack, which breaks up the earth beneath their feet.
That's why they have the stomp it. God, it's so crazy how movesets working with the lore. Every bit of the game is lore. It's so wild. It's like, yeah, they do the stomp attack that Godfrey does because, you know, they were his knights, and they learned it from him. God.
This is such a cool homage to Godfrey. You know, knowing the lore is great. It definitely makes dying to it feel a little bit better, right? Anyway, I think it's important to remember that Godfrey and his Crucible Knights existed in an age before the Erd Trees, an age with the Great Tree in its primordial form, back when there was this red-tinted crucible of life, and these were warriors who drew power from its chaos. Eventually, however, they were brought on board with order, which is best exemplified by Godfrey being tamed by the Beast Regent upon his back. There are 2 types of ornamentation that the Crucible Knights can have. There's axe ornamentation, which is worn by Crucible Knight Ordovus and his men, and I think the axe is a bit of a homage to Godfrey again. And then there are some knights that have great tree ornamentation, and these are displayed by the Knight Siluria.
Because if I remember from the previous lore video, these knights were... They got their power from the original Great Tree before the Erd Tree was created. And that's why they're eventually seen as heretical, is because even though they were useful for their fights, eventually the Golden Order didn't need them anymore. And they didn't want reminders of the old tree, because that kind of, you know, it kind of shows that, well, the Golden Order isn't everything, because there was stuff before it. So they're kind of, they use them for their strength, and then they erase them from the history. Those ones are so freaking awesome. They are so cool.
Her men, which is, of course, a reference to the Great Tree itself. And I'd like to quickly talk about the Great Tree. In one of my first lore videos, I proposed that there was a great tree that must have existed before the Erd tree, and that the Erd tree might have even replaced this great tree. This was based on the English root resin item description, which has the word great tree capitalized and as one word, which certainly makes you think that it's a distinct tree, right? The line is, the roots of the great tree once linked to those of the Erd tree, which is a line that seems to clearly set up that these are two separate trees. Except the Japanese translation doesn't say that. The Japanese translation says, these roots are said to have once been connected to the golden tree. It does mention the great tree earlier, but it seems to just be referencing the Erd tree as that great tree, because it is a really big tree. Some people have taken this to mean that there was no great tree before the Erd tree, and, you know, while that's certainly possible, I do think it's still fair to argue that a great tree existed before the Erd tree. For one, many of the Crucible Knight items reference a primordial form of the Erd tree, and they have ornamentation and history that is based on this primordial holiness that is not.
Look at all the translations minus the English one.
So calling it a great tree.
You gotta love localization just really always fucking up. It's like, come on. Your job isn't to change what the words are. Your job's to translate them. And I know people are gonna be like, well, you can't one-to-one translate. I understand that. But your job as a translator is to capture the essence of what's being said. So even if you aren't doing it one for one, to the best of your ability, you should be doing it one for one, or just changing things that still indicate the original meaning. You can't just say, fuck it. Fuck it. Because that happens all the time. Especially with like closed captions. Watching anime blows my mind sometimes because the translation will just be blatantly wrong and just say things that aren't being said in the anime. And I know that's like, that's too weeaboo. That's too weeaboo sometimes. You're like, actually, that's not what they said. But it's still, it's like, why are you translating it that way? Why are you translating it with what you want it to say, not what it's actually saying? These fucks went to the Koji school of let's just fuck about. They didn't go far enough. They didn't go far enough. They're just randomly changing things. Koji, at least, like the stuff that Koji inserts is just extra.
Tree might just be referencing that tree. And secondly, Siluria defends a giant tree in the Deeproot Depths. It's one that has this hollowed out entrance that is reminiscent of the entrance at the Erd tree as well. So maybe there's
tree huggers.
I just kind of wanted to set that straight for now. But the reality is that we don't really know for sure, and hopefully DLC will shed a light on some of these past ages of the world, which seems to be a common trend with From Software DLC, and there just really are so many remnants of previous ages in this game, and I'd love to see a little bit more about what their cultures really were like. It kind of makes you resent just how all-encompassing the Erd tree became. So many of these cultures have been lost, and I guess that's how a lot of characters in-game feel as well. They feel upset by that, and knowing this fact helps you understand why so many of these characters are okay with burning down the Erd tree. They're totally fine with that. And this brings us to our next boss, because in the act of burning down the Erd tree, you release a slew of ulcerated tree spirits.
Hey, that me when I got out of bed.
Lie suffering beneath the ash until you come along. But of course you fight many of these tree spirits across the lands between, even before the end game. There's an ulcerated tree spirit at the husk of this minor Erd tree, there's a bunch in catacomb dungeons by great tree roots, there's even one at the husk of the Halig tree. There's a lot of these. Some might even say there's too many of these bosses. I think they're the worst boss in Elden Ring.
They are very fun.
Understanding their lore might make it a bit more palatable. So, while these creatures fight near the trees, I don't think they're defending them. Rather, I kind of think they're this corrupted byproduct of dead or dying trees. We know that one of the new purposes of the Erd tree is to accept spirits and allow them to live on. And it's almost like these ulcerated spirits are this...
One second. Belle! Come here, Belle. Yeah. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that. Come here. Come here. Yeah, I saw it. You can't hide from me. I saw it. And go on in. Go on in. Sorry about that. Belle's having some pretty bad allergies. She left my room to go into Amanda's office so she could bite herself. She thought I wouldn't notice. She thought I wouldn't notice her sulking off to a different area so she could chew herself. Poor girl.
Horrific failure of that process. One of Miyazaki's favorite themes in these games is the idea that life is not supposed to be eternal, and I think these spirits are a physical manifestation of stagnation and decay. They're this product of an age of an Erd tree that really should have ended a long time ago. Most tree spirits drop golden seeds, which are also found at the base of smaller illusory trees, and they read, "When the Elden Ring was shattered, these seeds flew from the Erd tree, scattering across the various lands, as if life itself knew that its end had come." A talisman also goes on to say, the Erd tree was once perfect and eternal, and thus it was believed that Erd tree seeds could not exist. This was back when there was an age of plenty, when blessings literally dripped from the boughs of the Erd tree like sap. And the Erd tree's warm light healed those who bathed in its rays. The Erd tree flourished with abundance, yet it was only for a fleeting moment. Such is the course of all life. Then the leaves began to fall, and as you know from the introduction and the endings, the fallen leaves tell a story. The story is that the Erd tree was withering. Scattered across the lands between are minor Erd trees, where you go to collect crystal tears. Basins were placed at the feet of minor Erd trees in order to collect these tears, though in some cases these tears are dropped by Erd tree avatars instead. When the Elden Ring was shattered, the avatars emerged, wielding ceremonial staffs that depict the Erd tree in its historic radiance.
Wait, sorry, they didn't come about until it was shattered. So were they created by the shattering?
These creatures are the will of the dying Erd tree, made manifest, I think. They are literally part tree, after all, and they fight desperately to protect the minor Erd trees, which are the offspring of the withering Erd tree itself. Some avatars, placed in Caelid and Miquella's Halig tree, are rotten avatars, and they even have this uniquely designed staff that festers with rot, just as they do. Remember that Halig tree is also an emulation of the Erd tree, so it makes sense that it has its own avatars as well. And they fight on, because to many of these creatures, any Erd tree, whether it's minor or a copy or doomed, is something worth protecting. So, if you've made it all the way to the end of this video, then chances are you love this kind of long-form content.
Oh, I do. I love it.
An Audible subscription might also be just right for you.
Once again, VaatiVidya absolutely kills it. There's no better lore channel, I don't think. This is fantastic. Well, I mean, a quick summary. Fire giants basically were wiped out because they could burn the Erd tree, and the last one was enslaved to protect the fire. The Zamor ancients, frost people that I think got their frost powers from the frost dragons. They were used in the war to help kill the fire giants. The fire giant itself is host to an outer god who's the one that gives them their flame blessings, which means that they might be an Empyrean. I don't know about that because the Empyreans seem to be the ones that are able to inherit the god's powers, but that's just my little theory. The trolls are descendants or relatives of the giants, and their insides have been carved out and a stone tablet placed inside of them to help control them, to not be danger to the Erd tree. The Knights Cavalry are Morgoth's servants that hunt down heroes so they can't rise up against the Golden Order. The Tree Sentinels are badasses who kind of are just the defensive wall and helped defeat the dragons. Crucible Knights are knights that were created back in the day with the primordial Erd tree, then were used by the Golden Order, and once they had been, they had fulfilled their purpose, were cast aside because they were heretical to the Golden Order. The ulcerated tree spirits are just yucky yuck spirits that come from the tree burning. And then the Erd tree avatars are extensions of the Erd tree created to defend them. All in all, a really in-depth video that I quite enjoyed watching. So I'm looking forward to going more through VaatiVidya's videos, because there's a lot more lore to learn. But however, chat, it is 4:20, which means it's time for me to end stream. Amanda is home. I went a couple minutes over what I should have, so I have to go. I apologize. I love you all bunches. I'm going to see you tomorrow for another stream. Hopefully my arm will be better so we can play some Final Fantasy, and then we'll probably watch a little bit more lore at the end of stream. I kind of want to watch the rest of this lore before we get to Elden Ring's release. But I love you bunches. Thank you for hanging out. It's been fun, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, everybody. Bye.